Charts in the dark, heartbeat in the candles glow. Fear in my lungs, but the grade says go. Every loss a ghost that whispers no, but I'm still here, chasing gold through the undertow. They say don't fall for the rise, but I build my wings on the highs. Every red line looks like art to me. Every drop is a part of me. Bye, 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 bye. Can't stop my hands tonight. Market's screaming, but I'm breathing fine. The pain sounds like profit in my mind. Perfect time. Bye, 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 bye. I'm alive in the climb. Even if it all dies, I'll try to turn my fall into a sigh. Whisper to me volatility, follow you through agony. I'm not addicted, I'm anointed, see. My faith is Fibonacci symmetry. Bye, 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 bye. Can't stop my hand tonight. But she's mine. Even in the sunshine. Bye, 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 bye. Till I blur the lines. Oh, I'll die if I can try. Bye, bye, bye.
Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. Good morning, and welcome to a very early episode of the Matt Kohrs Show. I know we're about 30 minutes early, but I figured, hey, I'm already prepped for the show. I got up at the crack of dawn because my tummy did not have a good night, so I put in extra work, and I figured, hey, the GDP report's coming out anyway. We're going to get to listen to our boy Rick Santilli. Why not celebrate it all together? So I figured let's just hit that go live button. So the GDP report is about to drop, so we're going to do that. And honestly, in terms of days and things to go over, I'm just getting an alert right now. Uh-oh. What was that? I just got... Uh-oh. Things are turning, and they're turning pretty quick here. SPY starting to take a hit, Q starting to take a hit, Vol starting to pick up, Russell starting to take a hit. All right, so as I said, the GDP report is about to come out. The line in the sand is 3%, and I figure after that we have a lot to go over in terms of earnings and the U.S.-China trade deal. So, hey, if there was a good day to start early, today would be that day. Let me get this rocking because, like I said, this should be going in about 30 seconds, but it is completely dark right now. That's problematic. What is going on? If I don't get my fix of Rick today, something's gonna happen, and it's not gonna be good. They're on a break. Just give us Rick. Give us Rick or give us death. Give me Rick. 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 All right, here's the 1 minute chart just in case they don't put Rick up, but it's about to come out right now. Which way are we going? Which way are we going? Up, down, in the middle, up, down, in the middle. Which way? Which way? Which way? Is everyone just slow to react to this? Did they front run it? Did somehow the news get leaked 2 minutes early? Where are we going with it? I am not actually seeing it being reported yet. Where's my boy Prophet? He's probably not even up yet. He didn't know. The most recent. All right, here. What do we have? No reaction thus far. It almost looks like people like we got a drop of about 50 cents there, but it started at 8.28. Someone always knows.
The red this morning is raining outside and raining on the markets. Dow off about 217 points. NASDAQ looking to open down about 100 points. The S&P 500 looking to open down about 20
points. Is that volume good?
Over to Frank Holland, who's taking a look at this morning's pre-market movers. Frank, what's going on?
All right, what do we have moving?
We're going to start with two big pharma movers this morning. Take a look. You see Merck shares. They're lower, just about 3% lower.
Report?
After sales of its immunotherapy drug, Keytruda, they fell short of estimates. The company also narrowed its outlook for the year. Meantime, you see it right here. Eli Lilly up just about 4% on better than expected earnings and revenue for Q3. It also raised its guidance, saw strong sales for its weight loss drugs, Zepbound and Mounjaro. Next up are shares of our parent company, Comcast. You can see it's up just about 2% right now. And earnings and revenue beat. Domestic wireless net additions, they were 414,000. Best quarterly result on record. However,
did they
the company
just not
saw
give
its
us
broadband
GDP?
customers decline for the fourth straight quarter. Right now, shares are up just about 1.5%, but you can see year to date pulling back more than 20%. And we want to cap off some of the big tech earnings movers of this morning. We're going to start off with Alphabet. Shares are higher this morning,
raised
up over
$25 billion
8%.
from a
The company
bond
exceeded
sale.
almost
Jesus.
every metric that analysts follow. Very different
Dude,
story
are
from
we
Meta, which took a
cracking
one-time
more?
tax
What
charge
is
of nearly
happening?
$16 billion. You can see those shares are pulling back over 9%. Also, we got Microsoft also lower right now.
Taking
over
out some of
2%
these
lower after it took a one-time
overnight trading
$3.1
lows
billion
there,
hit
brother.
for its investment in OpenAI. Andrew, back over to you.
Frank Holland, thank you, sir.
Andrew?
We just dropped pretty significantly in the futures. NASDAQ dropped over 110 points.
Yeah, just
S&P
now.
futures
What
down by
happened?
20 points. The Dow weakened by over 100 points, too.
We're going
we'll continue
down.
to dig through to see what's happening, but obviously a lot of volatility this morning, and we will
Give
keep an
me
eye
the
on that,
JP.
too. Up next,
Listen,
though, the
Becky.
Fed rate cut and the markets. Professor Jeremy Siegel will join us right after this break with his outlook.
He's actually
going to
be good to listen to. I don't always agree with him, but...
And then Senator John Thune will be our guest. We'll talk to him about the shutdown, other things that we're seeing in these trade talks with China.
All right.
Squawk Box will be right back.
They'll be right back. So when they start talking, we can dive into that. But folks, I hope you had a great day yesterday. None of you asked, but I had tacos last night. And you might be thinking to yourself, Matt, Taco Wednesday? You're a crazy person. And you're right. I am verifiably an insane person. You know, I understand the concept of a Taco Tuesday. I get it. But I figure, hey, the life of the world's biggest Pico influencer, I can do what I want. And that's exactly what I did. Your boy wanted tacos. I went and I got tacos. And the craziest part about the whole situation was when I was going into the restaurant, I heard someone screaming. And I was like, oh, that's kind of normal for New York. There's like a general idea that people just scream. And I was like, whatever. And then I realized as I was getting closer and closer to the restaurant that someone was screaming in the restaurant. And as I got really close to the restaurant, they were coming out of the restaurant. And this lady who had a dog, and I assume she was screaming because they didn't want the dog in there. And it wasn't a service dog or anything. It was this lady. You know how like there's a new vibe of person, and maybe if you're not in an urban area, you didn't know this, but there's like this new vibe of person that thinks they could just bring their dog literally wherever they want, including restaurants, which I assume at a certain point is like kind of a health issue. But anyway, I don't know. I've never given those ratings to restaurants before. But anyhoozle, she was really, really mad. Like she just kept screaming. She's like, you're gonna be fucking shut down tomorrow. You're a fucking retard. And she just kept doing this thing where she would like open the door, scream back in, and she kept lobbing the same insult. You're a retard. Like, you're such a fucking like, and it had such a New York accent to it. It really made me feel like I was home. I was like, you don't get this in Switzerland. You really don't. You just don't get it in Switzerland. I'm going to be honest. I I just don't think they do it there. So it was kind of like my welcoming home event. And then regardless, when she stopped screaming, I went in there, had tacos. They were awesome. Your boy's big fan of tacos. And then I just kind of moved on with my life. Service dogs are different. Yeah, they're different. And if you ask me, people are starting to abuse it. I'm by no means anti-animal. I love animals. I love pets. But let's all be honest. People are starting to abuse the entire service dog situation. Like, come on. If we're being 100% with each other, people are starting to abuse it. I think there are a very small select few people who need those service animals, and when they need it, I fully believe that they deserve to have it in whatever situation they deem it to be appropriate. But there's a new, I don't know, wave of people who just fill out that information and they're like, yeah, it's emotional distress, and they move on with their life. Like it's getting abused. Like clearly it is being abused. And it's tough because I think there's a certain set of people who truly need it, and the service pet is like phenomenal for them. And it's always sad when you have something so solid and quality in practice, and then there's a whole other wave of people who abuse the system. It kind of pisses me off. And that's what was happening last night. That was definitely what was happening last night. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Oh, wait, they brought this guy on. My apologies.
Sure thing for the December meeting. He's emphasized
This
by
guy's
saying
from
far
Wharton.
from it.
Apparently he's smart.
Those words, I think the Dow dropped 150 points in 5 seconds after that. I think my take is that this will slow down the bull market. I don't think it's going to stop the bull market. But they are looking at strength in the economy and basically saying, that it's not a sure thing. Now, we have 6 weeks. The next meeting is December 10th. I think the next 6 weeks are very important because even though it ends, December 10th is 2 weeks before Christmas, we're going to get a good idea about how the consumer is going to be reacting to a number of tariff increased prices from all the goods that they're going to buy for the holiday season. And we're also going to see whether layoffs from AI accelerate or not. So I think what they're saying is, I want to see that data. And by the way, whether the government opens or not, and I certainly hope by December 10th it's going to be reopened, but I think they're going to have enough data. I think they have enough alternative sources of data to determine whether there is going to be a slowdown of the consumer. The good news is I think the Fed has our back. They're essentially saying if we do see a slowdown, we will cut. But if we see the strength that we are seeing right now, we're going to maybe wait another meeting and see what happens in January.
So you said you think that this slows down the bull market but doesn't stop it. Is that because you think that the market doesn't need rate cuts in order to continue to push higher? There's enough happening on the corporate front, on the economic front? Or do you think that eventually the Fed has to say, okay, we're going to give you what you want?
No, I think that, my feeling is we should be a bit lower.
Dude, the NQ
but
just
I also have always
over
said that I don't,
points.
We see now the 10-year at
805 this
410. I
morning.
never thought
In the past
people were talking
30
about
minutes,
the 10-year's going down
dude,
to 375.
something is up.
Mortgage
My
rates are going to go
spidey
down.
senses
No,
are tingling.
I really just thought
It's either that or a
lowering
brain
that
tumor.
short rate was going to normalize the term structure, which means that, long rates are supposed to be above short rates. Now we have it, fine, 410. We're going to get down to 388 on the Fed funds. Now, that's narrower than usual. But, I never thought that the really long rate is going to do it. Listen, it's basically earnings. Earnings are great. Guidance has been good. The AI story is still alive. But a lot of investors are going to say, okay, I'm not going to get 3 3/4, 3.5% long rate. I've got to recalibrate that.
Wow.
And I think that is putting a lid on it. So I do see an increase, but I think a slower increase as a result of the caution of the Fed.
Mike Santoli was just with us talking about at 6,900, the S&P 500 was already pretty far ahead. of where most Wall Street analysts were anticipating, most strategists were anticipating we'd be for the end of the year.
62% chance that we go above 40 days.
It's even above what I am, and
crazy.
I'm pretty bullish on the stock market. That 7,000 looked like kind of a slam dunk. It's not a slam dunk anymore. It certainly, I think, can be there, and I don't think that we have a market that is really vulnerable at this particular point to a big decline, unless we really
the betting market is saying this shutdown's going into a good chunk of November.
Sentiment beginning to impact consumer spending, and again, the good news is the Fed does have our backs there. They will lower if things really fall off the cliff. They will probably even go down 50 basis points. I'm not predicting that, but it's always comforting the market to know that the Fed is looking at it and is not stubborn about whether they're going to lower rates or not.
Okay.
So the highest odds are past mid-November.
What concerns you?
This is nuts.
What concerns me is, again, I'm looking at what the consumer is doing. I like what's happening at trade front. I think that those fears
93% chance this guy
are
wins.
Certainly being mitigated.
We're
I've
electing
always
a
been
socialist.
worried cybersecurity. We talk about maybe doing nuclear testing again on the military front. I always thought that cybersecurity is as important as military security because our world relies so much on us being connected. And
Nasdaq is getting
I always said the scariest thing is
team.
for America to wake up in the morning and not be able to connect to any of their accounts because of some sort of cyber attack. And
Gold's
we have
picking
to
up a
absolutely
little.
make sure that
Bitcoin's
is secure.
That was a little more than I was hoping for.
Bitcoin
I'm not predicting
double
it.
topped
I'm just
at
saying,
116.
We need to spend money on
106.
that. I mean, security today is more than just military security with armored tanks and atomic weapons.
I was talking about concerns for the market. I didn't mean concerns for the entire existential existence. Right. but we'll take it. Unfortunately,
the market, as far as the market's concerned, I think the market concerns are really, are twofold. One, huge layoffs that we see from AI that really send consumer confidence down, or people come away and saying, hey, I bought this for Christmas and it was, $45 and now it's $55. I'm going to slow down my spending. And we see those two reductions. Again,
those are the run-of-the-mill things I was talking about.
U.S. Energy Secretary Wright, the U.S. is prepared to sell more oil and natural gas to China.
Is that the Fed,
according
I think,
to sources,
has our back there. They say, if I see that, we will absolutely lower rates.
All right, I think they're going on another break soon. So, I have some things I want to chit-chat about.
The worst thing is when you have a stubborn Fed that says, oh, no, I believe
too early to buy the dip. Yes, in my opinion, yes. Look at the gap fills, dude.
Professor Siegel, thank you. Have a great day.
Wait for gap fills.
Thank you much.
Think about the risk reward.
Okay. When we come back, Senate Majority Leader John Thune is going to be with us as we head to a break. Take a look at crypto prices
Bitcoin's getting
right now. Got some Bitcoin
right now.
Sitting just at about $109,000. And as Becky mentioned earlier, the stock market taking a bit of a turn ahead of the open. Looks like the S&P 500 is going to be, it's getting... I was going to say the S&P now off about 24 points, Dow off about 180 points, NASDAQ off about 145 points. We're coming right back.
All right. Biggest news of the day. I know many of you are thinking that I'm going to talk about the GDP report that we didn't get, or maybe talk about earnings, or maybe talk about U.S.-China trade deals. No. The biggest news of the day is my favorite heist has been falling apart. I am displeased to announce that our heist masterminds of precious jewels from the Louvre are maybe not the masterminds I initially assumed they were. Here I was thinking that the most brilliant heist of broad daylight, museums open, we have all the clients and patrons and security there. It was so bold. It was so brazen. You would think that they're thinking outside of the box. In fact, they are not, because we are not even 2 weeks away from the actual heist itself. And now 7 people have already been arrested. So, yeah. Police make 5 new arrests after the 2 they've already made in the Louvre heist. The overnight raids across Paris included the arrest of a man who prosecutors suspect of directly taking part in the heist. So if you guys were missing out on it, there were 9 pieces of jewelry that were, I guess, swindled from the Louvre. 1 was dropped in the exit, so technically they only got away with 8. A couple days ago on Sunday, they arrested 2 people, and as of this morning, fast forward a couple days, they've now arrested 5 more. French police have made 5 new arrests in connection to the heist at the Louvre, in the clearest sign yet that the thieves who broke in the world's most visited museum have relied on a wider network. So a lot of guys already going down for this, the whole thing. You know, do I believe that I willed this into existence? Yes, as I've already previously explained to all of you folks. For a couple weeks now, I've been talking to my wife about how there's been no good heists lately. And then bada bing, bada boom, a couple weeks later, the Louvre, one of the most famous museums in the entire world. Yeah, in fact, there was a legit real world Ocean's level heist. Except I shouldn't call it Ocean's level because they are already getting nabbed. It wasn't even one of these things. It feels like the cops kind of had an easy go at these guys, and I assume in the coming days there's probably going to be even more arrests. So I just want to let you know about that. That's probably the biggest news of the day. Hang on. I keep coming back to CNBC because Senator Thune is going to be talking, and I want to know what he has to say about the government shutdown.
Now in day 30 of the government shutdown, and joining us for the latest out of D.C. is Senate Majority Leader John Thune of South Dakota. Leader Thune, thank you for being here today. It's kind of hard to believe it's been 30 days already. Yesterday, you said that talks had picked up substantially. Who's talking?
Republicans and Democrats, and I think Democrats and Republicans among themselves and across party lines. I think there are a lot more conversations going on now, Becky, than perhaps there were a couple of weeks ago, but there should be. I mean, this is a just absolutely ridiculous position to be in. I've lived through several government shutdowns in my time here. Nobody wins, and if there's anything about it, it's the stupidity of it. This is something we ought to be able to work out. It's simply funding the government so that we can fund the rest of the government through the normal appropriations process. And it's the Democrats have tried to make it about everything else, and all we're simply doing is saying, let's pass a funding bill and keep the government open.
In those talks that are happening across aisle, I know you said yesterday that it didn't include Democratic leadership, but what's the path or the framework for anything that would get you to a point to be able to reopen the government in those talks that are taking place?
Right. Well, it's 5 more Democrats. We're at 55 right now in the Senate. Every time we bring that bill up to fund the government, we have 55 votes to open up. And it takes 60 in the Senate. It takes a supermajority, as everyone knows.
Vol is really picking up since 8 a.m.
And, it'd be nice if it would run through their leadership. I think their leadership is in a box. You've got the New York mayoral election coming up. You've got all these left-wing groups that are, clamoring for attention and to fight with Trump. And I just think the Democrat leaders are scared and threatened by all this outside noise and afraid to open up the government. So if this happens, I think it happens through the rank and file Democrats who come to the conclusion that this isn't in anybody's best interest. And I think that's going to happen, Becky. It's always a matter of time. I mean, like I said, I've been through a few of these, and there isn't anything instructive about it. Nobody wins. This is just to me, it's a stupid exercise. It needs to end, and the sooner the better.
683 is the snapping line
if
today.
If it ends, it's only going to happen through rank-and-file Democrats. It's not a time after Election Day or some other time where the Democratic leadership gets together with you and you figure a way to do this?
I think there'll be
because that's pretty unusual, and that would show a huge sign of weakness for Schumer if that were the case, if he loses his caucus and they vote around him.
I think it will make a difference after you get past Tuesday. You got those 2 off-year elections in New Jersey and Virginia. I think there's a lot of attention being paid to.
The amount of ads I'm getting for the New Jersey election and the New York City mayoral election right now, it's the only ads I'm seeing.
That way
it's
through
crazy.
That lens, unfortunately. I think this is about real people who are being hurt every day by this government shutdown. In federal workers who aren't getting paid, everybody from air traffic controllers to TSA agents to Border Patrol agents. You can go right down the list. And so that's really what this is about. But if it is about politics, hopefully after next week, maybe it gets a little bit easier. But I just don't see much evidence at the leadership level, and of course both the leaders are from New York, the House and the Senate, much evidence that they want to do anything but keep this thing going. And keeping this thing going means that just millions more Americans are going to get hurt, and there's going to be a lot of pain out there. But these consequences are becoming real now that we've been in this for 30 days.
Leader, how do you feel about, there's a number of proposals by some of your colleagues on both Republicans and Democrats to almost piecemeal certain parts of the government to stay open while the sort of larger, broader government remains shut down. And there's a question whether that, from a policy perspective, is a good idea or not, whether you effectively need the forcing mechanism, or if you actually were to approve some of these different proposals, ultimately whether we would never get the government open again.
Yeah, and I think that, to me, that's my view, Andrew, that all that does is extend the shutdown. If you take away a little bit of the, pain here and a little bit of the pain here, but still you've got, millions of federal employees who aren't being paid, and many of whom are furloughed. But you got people who are working. I mean, people in this building today are working and aren't getting paid. And then, as I mentioned, all those who work in key areas of our economy. So I just think that you need to open it up, and the simplest way to do that is just to fund the entire government, not pick little winners and losers or do these sort of one-off bills. And I understand the rationale for that and why it seems politically feasible, but it doesn't make sense if the longer view is this government needs to be open on behalf of the American people. I mean, it's costing the economy. The things I know that you all pay attention to on a daily basis. This is not a good thing for our country, and the longer it continues, the worse it's going to get.
Leader Thune, while you're here, let's talk about some of the other issues that are happening in the world today, certainly impacting America. We did hear the takeaways from President Trump's meeting with President Xi of China, and it sounds like it's kind of a stand-down situation where we'll be getting rare earths minerals, we'll be selling more agricultural goods to China. Part of the trade-off may be that we ship them more semiconductor chips, not Blackwell necessarily, but maybe higher chips than had been approved to this point with the H-20. You've been pretty hawkish when it comes to the export of semiconductors. How do you feel about that?
It is. These have all these things, of course, with China. There's an economic issue here, but they all have national security implications, and so yeah, I'm obviously concerned about their role in the world and the things that they're doing in other places, and Russia and Taiwan, etc. I do think, however, when it comes to the economy, that our economies are sort of inextricably linked together. We're the two largest economies in the world. There's a symbiotic relationship that exists there. The good news, obviously, for a state like mine, coming out of the announcement yesterday, is that China's going to start buying soybeans again. Soybean market had been shut down. We had a big harvest this year. Nowhere to go with it. So, there's an economic relationship that I think we need to continue. Obviously, there's going to be a give and take in relationships like this. But I believe that the administration will do what's in the best interest not only of America's economic security, but our national security as well.
President Trump also announcing the resumption of nuclear testing starting immediately for the United States. Not entirely sure what that means, but it would be the first nuclear testing since back to 1992 when President George H.W. Bush put a ban on it.
We haven't done nuclear testing since 92?
Is it warranted? Is it necessary?
I don't know the answer to that for sure. I'm anxious to hear the rationale and the explanation for what they're thinking there, Becky. I do think that right now the world is a very dangerous place. There are actors out there with nuclear capabilities, and obviously I think the president has employed a peace through strength approach to dealing with our adversaries around the world, and this perhaps is part of that. So I'm sure we'll all get an explanation for what the thinking is there. But, obviously, when you live in a dangerous world, you have to be prepared.
And Senator, you serve on both the Commerce and the Finance Committees, along with Agriculture.
Probably makes some good trades.
We are in a dearth of economic data right now because of the government shutdown. I'm guessing you probably have better information than the rest of us. How do you feel about how the economy's going right now?
I talk to, as you do, Becky, a lot of industry leaders. I know you had a number of them on this morning, and I just think that the overall mood out there is pretty strong. You look at what the market's doing, and movement
stock
on
market
interest
and the
rates,
economy
et cetera.
are two different things there, brother.
I do think that fundamentally we've got some workforce issues that we have to deal with. But I think as a general rule, as long as we have the right policies in place that make it easier, not harder, and less expensive, not more expensive, to invest in America, you'll continue to see companies make those investments. And I'm encouraged by what I see, but obviously, we pay a lot of attention to the warning signs out there on the horizon, and there's a lot going on in the world today globally that I think we need to pay attention to. But if we're doing the right things here at home on the policy front, on the regulatory front, and with respect to energy, et cetera, and workforce, I think we can keep a really strong economy that creates those better paying jobs and lifts all the boats for every American.
Leader Thune, thank you for your time today. If you had to make a prediction, would you say the government will reopen next week?
No.
I'm certainly hopeful, Becky. I think it's a possibility, but I have Scandinavian heritage, so I tend to see the glass as half empty. But I do think that I feel like at least people are realizing what's at stake now, and I think as the pain intensifies, I think we're trending at least in the right direction. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Certainly hope that's the case. Leader Thune, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Becky.
Up next, we've got the stories making headlines right here on Squawk Box this morning. And as we head to a break, check out shares of Starbucks.
Boring. All right, folks. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We started a little bit early today just to see what was going on. Obviously, a lot of commentary on the lack of the GDP report that we just did not get today. U.S.-China trade talks, of course, we'll be breaking that down. Ton of earnings, especially related to the Mag 7. Of course, we'll be breaking that down. And of course, we also want to give everyone, ideally, a very quick but useful TLDR on the Fed meeting from yesterday. There's a lot going on, and as you could see in pre-market, people are getting ants in their pants. You could see that we had a decent recovery all the way up to the closing value on the SPY and the Qs. And unfortunately, as I am filming or explaining all this to you right now, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately. If you have puts, if you're long vol, it's actually looking good for you. So we have a lot of things to chit chat about. But just right there, if you missed who was talking, Senator Thune, I believe from South Dakota, was talking about the government shutdown. Question for all of you. I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. But I do want to get your thoughts. If you had to assign fault to this government shutdown, would you blame the Republicans or would you blame the Democrats? Once again, I'm not here to tell if you're right or wrong. I just want to know whether from your own research or maybe the way media has either properly or improperly distorted your mind. Right now, gut feel, just let it rip. Whose fault do you, quote unquote, fault do you think this government shutdown is? Both. Well, that's actually a very mature answer. Powell. You think Powell is the reason the government shut down? They both suck. Okay, 50-50. Both grow up. Dems, South Dakota. If Republicans, Dems, Dems, Democrats, Matthew, Democrats, no. A happy Democrat mistake falling into Republican trap planned by military intel. Wow, we're really getting into it. Both of them reps. Wow, it feels like the early crew here today is a lot more. I'm seeing a lot more of, hey, it's both of them. Matt Kohrs is the reason. Now you're blaming me. You're saying it's on me. Interesting. The globalist Obama. All right. I can tell you guys have been really, you've been studying up. I can tell that you've been studying up. All right. So we're going to get into that. But first, stock future slide is Meta and Microsoft fall after earnings. So in terms of big tech plays, Google's the only one that kind of did all right yesterday. And then Meta and Microsoft getting clapped. Meta having an issue with its increase in spending. Microsoft taking a sizable, in the short-term, financial hit on OpenAI. Chipotle getting clapped. And like I said, Google, aka Alphabet, is the only one doing somewhat decent. So we're going to be getting into those individual ones. But the other big news was the U.S.-China trade deal. Trump meets with Xi, declares immediate cut to tariffs. U.S.-China summit offers relief to both sides while high-stakes rivalry carries on. Does no one else find it problematic that the big event we were all waiting for, which we could already tell from the skew, as in everyone's loaded into calls. Remember 2 days ago when I told you that I get a little bit concerned when everyone is betting on the same thing? We knew this. And like, I'm not just saying, like from the rhetoric that you're seeing on Rumble and YouTube and Twitter that everyone is bullish. No, I'm telling you mathematically, where's my watch list? Right there. Okay. Can I make this bigger? Oh, wait, is my big head blocking this? Hang on, I might need to switch it over to here. Right here. If the things are in the right, it means that the calls relative to the puts are very expensive. And of course, when something's expensive, it can always get more expensive. But look at NDX, SPX, SPY, QQQ, Microsoft, Amazon, everything is too expensive. So going into this, going into the Mag 7 reporting, the GDP report, the PCE report, the FOMC, going into all this, I find it concerning that everyone was betting on bullish. Everyone was betting on the green button. And whenever I see one boat getting too loaded up, it makes me a bit concerned, because what's going to happen is going into it, when everyone's buying it, it's a classic supply demand issue. When everyone wants to bet on one thing, they get sold for more and more and more. That means people were overpaying for calls. And then all of a sudden, it kind of becomes a buy the rumor, sell the news event. It came through and nothing. It came through good. I'm not saying anything about this event was poor. There was no surprise, but there wasn't anything so exceptionally quality about it that it's going to keep the enthusiasm going. So between market close last night and market open this morning, everyone's sitting like they're looking at their portfolios, realizing, wow, we overpaid for calls. There's not enough gasoline left in this party to keep it going in the short term. And now all of a sudden, you're seeing a little bit of this call crush, leading to people getting legitimately concerned. So am I saying that this meeting was bad or bearish at all? No, but I'm not. I'm saying that it wasn't so incredibly good to, I guess, make the bulls happy from a pure stats, facts, and figures standpoint. Anyway, here's a little bit of a video from Wall Street Journal here. We should listen to this.
Busan, we're going to have a very successful meeting, I have no doubt. I'm here in Busan, South Korea, a major beach city, and only a few miles from me, President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping are meeting for one of the world's most important summits.
President Xi is a great leader of a great country, and I think we're going to have a fantastic relationship for a long period of time, and it's an honor to have you with us. Thank you.
The meeting just concluded, and President Trump is saying that out of a scale of 1 to 10, he thought the meeting was a 12. And here's why.
And even a 12 wasn't enough to keep us going.
He said leader Xi of China was going to buy more soybeans from the United States, taking some pressure off of Trump, who had been feeling it from farmers. He also said that China would be helping curb fentanyl entries into the United States.
I put a 20% tariff on China because of the fentanyl coming in, which is it's a big tariff. And based on his statements today, I reduced it by 10%, so it's 10% instead of 20%. Effective immediately. I believe he's going to work very hard to stop the death that's coming in.
And Trump also said there might be more access to rare earths for the United States and more chips coming in for China.
So we continue to produce the rare earths and buy the rare earths and everything else, when you see from other countries. But China is that whole situation, that roadblock is gone now. There's no roadblock at all.
Now, this meeting was not the big trade deal that Trump is working toward. This was one agreement to set up the table for larger conversations down the line. Trump said that he will go to China for a meeting with Xi in April, and that'll continue the discussions between the two leaders. At this point, it's a fairly successful outcome for President Trump, who wanted to prove that he and leader Xi could have a positive relationship and find ways to cooperate, even as they manage the most important relationship in the world.
Given our different national conditions, we do not always see eye to eye with each other. And it is normal for the two leading economies of the world to have frictions now and then.
But for right now, this is a bit of a détente. Trump has been a lot friendlier towards China in this second term, and this meeting was another example why. It's clear he's choosing a different approach, one where he feels he can cooperate with Xi in order to get to some place where they are both mutually happy.
All right. So as you heard it from the Wall Street Journal, they enacted a détente, and they are eating some croissant. And basically, this gives them roughly a year to figure out other stuff. In a vacuum, this was good. Unfortunately, relative to expectations, once again, I'm not talking about like emotional expectations or things that you're reading in articles. I'm saying from the math side of it, like looking at the options market, we were so absurdly loaded up in expensive calls that something phenomenal had to happen, and we just didn't get it. And then when you start putting that together with the fact that Meta and Microsoft just got clapped, people are going to be waiting for market open at 9:30 today, and they're going to realize that their calls just got kicked in the balls, and it's not going to be pretty. Trump cuts fentanyl tariffs on China to 10% as Beijing delays latest rare earth curbs by a year. So like I said, we have about a year to get this stuff figured out. And as you also heard, we have plans as of now for President Trump to visit China, like mainland China, in April of 2026. China says it's willing to work with U.S. on TikTok, but offers few details. So basically, like I said, across the board, it's good news, but it's turning the entire situation, I would say, is turning into a buy the rumor, sell the news. And hey, what do we have here? What do you think about the U.S.-China trade deal? In a weird way, she kind of looks like President Xi, wouldn't you say? Piper, do you have anything to say? You're kind of up early today. She had a big night of playing. She has this like weird cardboard box that she just likes to bulldoze all night. You had a big night of playing. You tired now? You tired? You tired? Do you have anything you want to share with the audience about the trade deal? She was going on about the trade imbalances in the Indo-Pacific, and maybe she's just a little tired now. Nothing you want to say? Just vibing? Just showing everyone how professional you are with your little white tuft? All right, she's probably going to nap. Or nope, she's going submarine mode. Every so often, we're just going to get a tail coming across. She's gone sub mode. There's no stopping her at this point. It's just one of those things that it's out of our control. Very quickly, important little side note, obviously, NVIDIA, $5 trillion company, first one to ever do it, kind of leading this AI revolution. So we're also noticing that this talk was in South Korea, and we know that the CEO of NVIDIA is also in South Korea. And even though it's not being reported, I think we could assume these three gentlemen are very much meeting, because arguably they're three of the most important people in the world right now. Trump says NVIDIA chip talks with Xi didn't cover Blackwell, so we're probably going to be finding out more and more of this. I would assume, if anything, submarine's back. I would assume as the trade relationships improve, I think it's a pretty safe assumption. In my own humble opinion, I am no global political strategist, but I would assume as these tensions simmer down, it's going to be nothing but good news for NVIDIA, because it'll allow it to trade more and more and more. Very quick side note, and I do want to get into a little bit of drama, but this is I guess a question for not just the Trump supporters. I'm saying the hardcore Trump supporters. Do you not have an issue with this whatsoever? If you didn't know, CZ, he's the founder of Binance, recently imprisoned, and then he more recently got pardoned by the Trump administration. And right before that, Binance boosted Trump family's crypto company ahead of pardon for its billionaire founder. Giant crypto exchange facilitated a $2 billion purchase of World Liberty stablecoin and built its technology. Clemency for CZ surprised some in the administration. What I'm trying to illustrate here is you can think that one option, i.e. Trump versus Harris, you can think one option is better, but that doesn't mean you necessarily have to agree with every single action they take. Remember, we don't live in this world where you're like, hey, I voted for that person, which means I agree with them 100%. It just means you agree with them more than the other person you didn't vote for. Does no one find this problematic? This idea that you could just basically buy your pardon, you can buy your clemency? Like, what do you... Does no one find it problematic, the precedent that this is setting? Because remember, as soon as one president does it, all the other guys are going to do it, and they're going to keep pushing him. So, for example, as much as I have an issue with this, I had an issue with Joe Biden pardoning everyone, Fauci, his son. And I even said it then. I was like, this is going to set a very dangerous precedent where the next president is going to keep doing it. And then the next president, because the last president did it, we're just going to get this endless fucking cycle of billionaires, these autocrats, buying their way out of legitimate prison. They're going to be able to do whatever they want, whenever they want, and whenever they get clapped by authorities, well, the president at the end of their term, or in this case, in the first year of their term, they're going to be like, you know what? You're good. Like, does no one... I don't get it. And obviously, if you were anti-Trump, let's say you voted for Harris, or let's just say in generic, like for whatever reason, you're already anti-Trump, there's a good chance you're looking at this and you're like, wow, that's crazy. But what I'm trying to point out is that even if you are a Trump supporter, you could be like, yes, I believe this is messed up, but whatever, this negative, this con doesn't necessarily outweigh all the pros. That's fine. This doesn't necessarily have to be mutually exclusive. So my direct question to those of you in the audience this morning who identify as like not just a Trump supporter, but I'm talking to like straight up MAGA, like that's who you are. You're bleeding MAGA through and through. Do you find this problematic, or are you just like, nah, that's cool, you're cool with it? Because if you are cool with it, would you be cool with it if Harris did the exact same thing? Let's say Kamala Harris in an alternate universe became the president. Let's say also in this alternate universe, Kamala Harris and her family were running a bunch of crypto companies. And in this alternate universe where Kamala Harris, the sitting president, and her family is running a bunch of crypto companies, well, all of a sudden they are being supported by Binance's founder, a billionaire, and to the tune of $2 billion, and then all of a sudden she gives them a pardon. Like, would you be cool with that? Kind of, but Dems have been doing it, so it is what it is. But this idea of like two wrongs, like that's not good. At some point, someone has to be the mature politician in the room, and just because something bad has happened in the past doesn't mean you should be perpetuating it into the future. That is not good. Think about how if you applied that to every aspect of your life. Imagine looking around you and be like, yeah, no, because people were murdered in the past, we should keep murdering people in the future. Because people cheated, lied, and were thieves in the past, we should keep doing that forward. This idea that one party has done something bad in the past, so it gives the other party a free pass to do it in the future, that is not good. We learn that as kids, that like an eye for an eye makes the whole world go blind. You learn that as children, and yet we somehow forget that moving forward? It's not good, because it's going to just pick up exponentially in this idea of just like basically political corruption, for lack of a better word. But man, it's just, remember, whatever happens in terms of an administration, imagine if the other administration does it, but it then becomes a little bit worse, because that's how this always goes. Everyone's just always pushing the line a little bit more, a little bit more. So if you're just willing to take something in stride right now because it's the administration you like, well, extrapolate that forward. At a certain point in the future, there's going to be an administration you don't like. And imagine if they did the exact same thing, but it's like 1% worse. And then imagine what that does. Every single administration, always pushing it, always pushing it, always pushing it. Imagine where that gets us in 20, 40, 60 years. It cannot be good. There is no way it can be good. And I guess I'm at the point that, like, obviously I attempt to pay attention to politics now, and whether left, right, in the middle, I don't really care. It's just at a certain point you wonder, like, where the fuck is the adult in the room? Like, seriously, where is the adult in the room? Scary situation. Anyway, bringing it back to today, we did not get the GDP report. And in a little bit, we are going to, well, actually, it's going to be happening in about 2 minutes. The ECB, the European Central Bank, which is the equivalent of our Fed, that's their central bank. The Fed, Jerome Powell, that's our central bank. They're about to do their interest rate decision, and it's expected to be keeping it consistent. And then right here, ECB press conference at 9:45. So the reason it's a little bit off, generally this is 8:15 and then 8:45, it's because they've already gone through daylight savings. They went through it this past weekend, while the U.S. is going through it this upcoming week. And just so you know, tomorrow, the PCE report. Prophet, are you in chat? Prophet, if you're in chat, I just want to make sure, even though it's scheduled, are we actually going to get it? Or is this one of those things that is going to be susceptible to the government shutdown? Does anyone know off the top of that? As of now, to wrap up the week, to wrap up the month, we are getting the PCE report. But does anyone know that, like, is this contingent on the government somehow reopening today? Does anyone know off the top of their head what is going on with that? If our GDP wasn't reported, I imagine whoever's responsible for it just told not it would make Trump to look bad. No, that's not how it works. If anything, you could argue the BLS is kind of against Trump, hence why they just got rid of the one dude. Anyway, this just came in. How did the market react? A little bit of a pop. Well, a little bit of a drop, actually. Tiny bit. So we're bouncing, at least according to SPY, the ETF, bouncing off of 683.40 all the way back up to 684.40. So a dollar pop there in about 10-ish minutes. Now we're giving a little bit back, hanging out at 684. But I do want to remind you that the big pivot level is basically 683. So it's a dollar below where we are. So on SPX, it's about 10 points south. So that means we're probably right now in pre-market trading around 6860. Am I right? Yep, 6863. Remember, the breaking point is basically 6850. And why is that? It's because where shit just kind of gets crazy right here. And it doesn't really find support till 100 points later. Today is going to be a wild day. Speaking of which, why is it wild? Well, part of it is, yes, the U.S. trade deals with China. Part of it is what's going on with earnings, and we're going to cover that. And part of it is the FOMC result from yesterday. Fed divisions reveal new caution over continued cuts. So there was one point yesterday, and we could actually probably pinpoint the exact minute it happened. Right here. I am on the minute chart. It was around 5 minutes into his speech. And I believe actually you can see the market started to skip. If you go to the 15-second chart, this was kind of crazy to watch in real time, right? You can't see it here. Maybe I was on the NQ, but my point is that there was one large drop where SPY went from 688. This is the 15-second chart. We basically dropped $2 and then just kept going. And it was right at this moment, 5 minutes into Jerome Powell's speech, that he basically said, hey, it's not really a foregone conclusion. He kept saying this. It's not a foregone conclusion that we're getting a rate cut in December. And the markets are like, what? Come again, brother? Right here. You could see it in real time that going into this event, like right here, 225. Like I said, it was 5 minutes into it. There was an 82% chance of a 25 bips rate cut. And as he kept talking, it dropped. It dropped 20%, 85% chance to 65%. We also saw it in Kohrs. Same thing. Going into it, 84%. Right here was around 78%. He started talking about it, boom, down to 67. So this was all about the fact that, like, the reporters asking the questions were basically saying, okay, cool, we get the 25 bips rate cut. This was pretty well telegraphed. Everyone was comfortable with it. We get that you're flying a little dark here. You don't have a lot of the numbers that you normally go off of. But even with that, can you tell us about December? And this was all through the lens of the fact that there was 2 dissenting votes. But these 2 dissenting votes were interesting because they were the polar opposite. So pretty much all of the voting members of the FOMC said, yes, 25 bips rate cut. But however, Mirren, the new pick from Trump, said, no, I want a 50 bips rate cut. And then Schmidt, I believe from Kansas, was saying, no rate cut at all. So they actually dissented, but in opposite directions. So through that, they're like, whoa, there was 2 dissent. It's very, very rare for there to be dissenting votes. And when there are dissenting votes, the dissenting votes are generally on the same opinion. The fact that we had 2 dissenting votes, that in itself is a bit rare. But what's really rare is the fact that they dissented in the opposite direction. Through that, there was a lot of questions about it. And then that led into all this commentary of, well, what do you think is going to happen in December? And I want to clarify that Powell himself, his own vote was not a dissenting vote. Powell said, yeah, I'm going 25 bips with everyone else. It was Schmidt from Kansas and then Mirren, the new one from Trump, that they were the opposite directions. And because of that, there was all these questions of December, and you could tell in real time the market did not like those answers, because that's exactly here. Let me get to exactly where this happened, that was this dump right here. It took 5 minutes in, and then we started to recover. The market went crazy right at market close because of earnings, and then you could tell early this morning that people are realizing that their calls are cooked, and now all of a sudden, probably the delta is going to be dropping right at market open. Speaking of those earnings, so the issue here, Meta, Microsoft, Alphabet, and Chipotle, only one of these did well. Granted, Chipotle's a lot smaller, so that one doesn't matter. I just happen to love Chipotle, so it matters to my heart, but not necessarily to the overall stock market. Alphabet did fine. Microsoft, Meta in real time getting clapped. Alphabet tops 100 billion quarterly revenue for the first time. Cloud grows 34%. So Alphabet, that's the parent company of Google, actually looking pretty solid. You can see the numbers here. Revenue beating, earnings per share beating, so beating on top and bottom line. YouTube beating, you could see Google Cloud beating, traffic acquisition costs also beating. Everything beat for Google. How are we looking? Google, right there. It is currently up 7.6%. This, if you are bullish, this was the thing to be on. Unfortunately, some people were bullish on Microsoft, which is currently down 2.6%. Microsoft stock drops on forecasts for increased spending growth this year. And the real problem, Microsoft takes a $3.1 billion hit from OpenAI investment. So that wasn't so good. And the other one that wasn't so good was Meta. And I'm saying that awkwardly because I know a lot of you in here are big supporters of Meta, and it is getting face fucked right now. It is down 10% in pre-market trading. This thing is getting goosed, and whoa, that's a large gap down. That's a big one. And this is all because the market does not like its increased spending on AI. Meta shares dropped 9% despite earnings beat as company takes one-time tax charge. Yes, but also they're increasing their spending on AI development by 89%. And right now the market is saying, are they going to pull it off? Are they not going to pull it off? So there's definitely a hit there. And even though not as impactful as those, because these are all three Mag 7, like I said, Chipotle's stock plunges 13% as chain lowers sales forecast, says younger diners are cutting back. I believe that is CMG. Chipotle, like literally skipping downward. It closed at 39.76, currently at 31.77, down 20%. This is actually percentage-wise the biggest hit of the ones we're talking about. If you happen to play any of these four right, Alphabet to the upside, Microsoft, Meta, or CMG to the downside, a massive congrats to you. But I do want to remind you that this is not over. This is just part of the game because we have other additional massive earnings after the market closes today, specifically Amazon, Apple, those are the two big ones, but you also might care about Coinbase, Reddit, MicroStrategy, Rocket, Riot, Cloudflare, and Roku. And then tomorrow before the market opens, we're going to be hearing from the energy sector, specifically Exxon and Chevron. So I know many of you in here are probably paying attention to some of these tech names, so I just want to call those out to you. And once again, this whole situation coming back to none of these are like straight up bad. And I'm trying to really clarify this because I think it's an important concept. A lot of the numbers and whatnot that we're hearing are arguably good. The issue was, I just need to move myself over here. People were betting too good. Like there were way too many bulls betting on an expansive move to the upside that we kind of got it. And then they kept betting on more and more and more, which means you just needed like not just good numbers, but lights out numbers. Right here, Microsoft, what percentile is this? It's 99 percentile, 96 percentile. Like that's how much the bulls loaded the boat here. Same thing with Amazon coming in today at 84%. Nvidia's chilling a little bit, but you can see they were even higher before the FOMC we updated. So going into the FOMC, everything was just cooked. And at a certain point, it's just, were the numbers good? But they weren't good enough. They were good in a vacuum, but not good relative to expectation. And actually right now, based on all the major tech plays I follow, Tesla is actually one of the most fairly priced ones at this moment. Why did my other ones not save? I added a lot to this list yesterday, but you can see over the past 10 days, everything's gone from being put heavy to massively call heavy. And I have a feeling when the market opens, we're going to see it in the delta flow here, that things are going to be most likely a little bit brutal. And by a little bit brutal, I'm betting on maybe potentially a lot of bit brutal, which really comes back to how much time do I have? These key levels right here. All right. This is the S&P 500 index, SPX. As you can see in pre-market trading, we are currently at 6862. That means we are 10 points away from a legitimate breakdown, 6850. Not only is this basically the low of yesterday, but hang on, let me get rid of this. You can see it is the pivot from positive gamma above to negative gamma below. Remember, positive gamma is sticky, mean reverting price action, while the red, the negative gamma, is more of slippery trend following price action. If we tilt into this, when it breaks, and you can see the supports right here, and you have a little bit of support at 45, but when you zoom out, there's not much support, brother. Yeah, some people are playing 800. If in some weird situation that snaps today, the next support is 6675. Oh, wait, my fat head is blocking it. My apologies. You have some support at 50. If that snaps, it gets a little bit questionable, but yeah, maybe you can argue it's going to catch itself at 6,800 right where my cursor is. But I just want to point out, if this in some situation does not hold, maybe it happens this afternoon, maybe it happens tomorrow, there is no protection from 6,800 all the way down to 6,675. There is no protection. In the event that we lose 6,800, in that event, there is no protection for 125 points. That is $12 on the spot. There is a setup here where Brent from Spot Gamma, who was on the show yesterday, the market spasm, we have this set up for it. Now, just because the gasoline is there, that doesn't mean someone's going to light the match. Maybe, but I'm just letting you know the gasoline is on the wood. It is on the kindling. It is on, I don't know, the very, very dry grass right now. The kindling is there because there's just no protection, and this is all negative gamma. Now, granted, you could say, but Matt, what if we just bounce off the 6,850 and buy or step in? Yeah, great. They could create a foundation there. And then that brings us up maybe a reversionary bounce up to 6,900. That's also totally possible. But we are losing quite a bit of our positive gamma. We close at 6,890. There is not positive gamma until 6,800. This is not what we've been used to. If you've been watching this overall market rally ever since basically the end of April, the start of May, this entire rally has been defined by positive gamma below, negative gamma above. And when you take out the zero DTE, we're just like perpetually caught in positive gamma. You can see right here, based on where we're about to open, we're opening on the larger scale in negative gamma. This is by no means the constructive move that we had the entire time. And then when I put that options development with the fact that people have been recently overpaying for calls, and you have the downside gap fill on SPX, you have the downside gap fill on NDX, this could keep going. But to play to the upside, you're simply overpaying, which basically means if you want to be a bull and you want to play price structure, price momentum, this means just don't chase and probably sit on your hands. And if you want to be bearish, well, be careful because yes, it could theoretically keep grinding up, but you're probably just targeting these downside gap fills. So the overall market in terms of price structure momentum still bullish. But when you start to look at the internals, when you look at things like breadth, when you look at things like the options flow, positive gamma, negative gamma, there's a shift going on right now. And the fact that we just got this arguably very good news from US and China, the trade deal, and all of a sudden we're not gapping up. In fact, we're actually starting to look weak. That should be telling you guys that there is fuckery afoot. There is fuckery afoot, so just be ready. This is not something, I saw people today, like, should I just arbitrarily buy the dip? I would say, based on my opinion of how this market is set up, no. Like, this idea of, oh, should I just buy the dip after hitting an all-time high in this current setup? No, there's negative gamma here. You're, like, it's just getting a little bit too, like, first of all, you're arguably just paying too much, like just looking at the quote unquote relative value of calls.
Connection loss.
Connection loss. What time is it? 9:28. Folks, I have to pee so bad. Okay. Well, I'm going to panic for a second, but you guys keep each other entertained. I need a coffee and a pee before the market opens. Be nice to each other. And I'm back. I'm back in time, just like that. A true professional. My doctor told me to feel better faster, I need to chug a bunch of water. So I've been drinking those protein shakers of electrolytes. And when you're drinking many, many ounces of water per day, it rips through you. I've already had 2 of those today. I've already had 40 ounces of water, and the market's not even open. 40 ounces of water. That's how we rock it here. That's how we rock it here in the MK studios. All right. Well, let's find out if Armageddon's going to hit today. I just have a feeling that a lot of people in sub 1 minute are about to realize that they've overpaid for calls and are about to get pretty destroyed. Dingity ding ding ding. The world's largest casino is now open. Best of all, play responsibly, and if not, have fun. Remember, 50. This is the snap point. Not only is it the technical low of yesterday, it's the big change from positive gamma to negative gamma. And if you're maybe not the most familiar with the Greek values and what that means, I probably sound like a crazy person. And yeah, for the viewers who have been here for a minute, you would probably agree Matt is a crazy person, but I'm not crazy for this. You know, for many reasons, you guys can like accurately say, yeah, like Matt's a little bit fucking gonzo. But when it comes to laying out these delta and gamma levels and the pressure from market makers, you could at least admit that I'm one of the best in the business to do it. And you know that this is a very important level to defend. If they do not defend it, I'm watching 6815, and then following that, I'm watching 6,800. However, if they do defend it, I'm watching a quick... Oh, fuck. Why did I lose connection? Hang on. We're disconnected, team. We're getting back into the mainframe. We're getting back into the mainframe. I should put this on. Okay, I turned the one bot on. That should be good. And then the trade copier is on as well. All right, where was I at? If we do bounce, remember, the game of trading is pretty much a bunch of if-then statements. If we were to bounce here, I'd be looking for a recovery to 6865, another key level. And then from there, yesterday's closing value at 6890. So bullish target number 1, bullish target number 2, bullish target number 3. If you're bearish, you would be looking for this breakdown. This is technically bearish target number 1, followed by bearish target number 2, followed by bearish target number 3. So 850, which is where we're at. So that's already hit. Number 2 is 815, followed by 800 flat. That's the name of the game. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm paying attention to. And pay attention to vol, because if vol gets goosing, if vol is starting, if vol starts to start spitting facts today, the bull camp's going to be in problems. It's going to have legit problems, because at that point, we're going to start talking about the 3 downside gap fills on NDX. Feel free to screenshot these, but on NDX, the actual NASDAQ 100, you have 1, 2, 3 downside gap fills. And looking at SPX, you have 2 downside gap fills, 807 and 749. 807, that actually is very much in play today if we snap 50 here. But that's a big if. I have no idea if we're going to snap 50. It depends on if people decide to come in and buy this dip, or if they decide to basically puke their calls. Remember, when it comes to active day trading, scalp trading, even shorter term swing trading, you should always have the bull case and the bear case. Have your if then statement. If this happens, then be bullish. If this happens, then be bearish. And of course, try to use proper sizing and try to use proper risk management. But this idea of just being married to the bull case or being married, dude, the Mag 7 is going downhill. Oddly enough, the delta flow on the Mag 7 is highly correlated with how my life has gone ever since I got out of high school. Nothing but down. That's funny. That's interesting. High correlation between the delta flow on the Mag 7 and how I've performed in life ever since my vice principal never told me I'd never get married. Interesting. How can you tell a politician is lying? Oh, I know the answer to that. Their mouth is open. Isn't that the answer? Meta stock drops 12%. Golly, Meta getting clapped. Ooh, that's brutal. That's brutal. How's Microsoft doing? Well, down relative to yesterday, but bouncing back since market open. Hood. I just got an alert on Hood. What would that alert be? Hood, downside gap fill. There is another downside gap fill on Hood, just so you know. So it just hit its high from Friday. There's another high on Thursday at 135.57. Once again, that is for Hood. For Hood. All right, let's see what's going on. So Meta, dude, that is brutal. It is down 12%. That is rough. That's a rough hit. The Qs just took out their low from yesterday. They just took out their low. That's... Folks, we might be in for quite a show today. The unraveling, if you will. And remember, this is happening not because of bad news, but because of the positional setup, the structure, the landscape of options. It was just susceptible to getting fucking clocked. So I'm not here to be like, oh, we're going down because of this horrible news. If anything, you could argue, like I've been saying multiple times, that the news we got in a vacuum was actually pretty decent. What is happening here is because of how the options was set up basically from last week to this week, and we just didn't get what we needed to do to keep the options market happy. And right now, when you have the most contracts ever traded month over month, it's big because it's highly levered. Like crazy shit happens. We lost 50. Well, just because you trade below it, in my book, that doesn't really count as a breakdown. But the longer you hang below it, not so good. Dude, Mag 7. Like, what did I say? Before the market opened, too many people overpaid for calls, and I bet at market open, they have to dump their calls for a big loss. Boom. No one's touching puts. They are selling calls. Folks, you are getting this information for free. You are getting a window into the mind of a fucking lunatic who happens to just understand one thing in life, and that, well, two things in life. One, the nuances of how options work, and two, just all the cool things I get to like hang out and do with my cat Piper, who's my chief investment officer. But that's it. Like, those are the two things I'm good at. And you're getting this, like, dude, this is literally called out before the market open. Like, before the market open. People overpaid. This is a game of math. Like, I think too many people are trying to make these like grand thematic ideas of like, no, this is good news, bad news. When you talk about active trading, like active straight up trading, it is pretty much exclusively a game of math. Do you get how the math of market making works? And that's how we call these levels out day in and day out. This is how I'm like, okay, this is support. Look at bounce, 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 break. If this doesn't hold, my next stop is 15. After that, you have the technical gap fill at 807, and then from there, 800. If 800 breaks, we could have like a legitimate issue today, like a fucking problem today. We're going to find out. Man, I should have taken that short trade on this break here. It was a little too early for me. I don't like to trade 5 minutes into the day. Am I making money today? I should be. I have some positions on that should benefit from this, and this is why you should be in the Goonie Discord. Not bad. I'm up about 8K today. I thought Vol would expand a little bit more. Where's VIX at? So my account's going to start printing if VIX gets above 1750, above 18. Wait a second. I'm up. Okay. On one account, I'm up 8K. On this other account, I'm up 10K. So I'm up 18K right now, unrealized. It doesn't count until you lock it in, but unrealized right now, 5, 8, 8, 10. Yeah, 18K unrealized. I'm long vol, and I'm betting against small cap and the Russell, dude. I'm betting against the Russell and tech, dude. This was my big bet. People in my Discord yesterday thought I was crazy. I heard the murmurs. If you're in the Discord and you're listening to me right now, I know you guys thought I was crazy betting against tech when it looked crazy strong. I know. I get it. I too thought I was crazy. But here we are with tech going down 1.2%. With tech going down 1.2%, 25% return today. I get it. I'm crazy. I'm crazy there with you. All the good news in the market is red. The founder of Spot Gambling was right. Yeah, he was. Too many people. They weren't just betting on good news. Remember, they were betting on like the best news ever and a continuation of it. And that's where things get dangerous. There was no bad news. If you're coming in today and you're like, Matt, like, what's the bad news? Why are we going down? The bad news is the fact that too many people don't understand how to play options, and they were all way too loaded into calls, and we just didn't get good enough news for those calls to pay off. So they're unloading calls, dropping the delta like, oh shit, like no other. This is the Orbo trade. I didn't realize we're already 10 minutes into the day. So this is the one that we're just making extra videos on in the background. So a little bit of an Orbo trade right here. A little bit of an Orbo trade. Got to fill at 49, targeting 46. Should be locking in $190, I believe. Something like that. Come on. Give us that money. Give us the money. Give us the money. Come on, 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 come on. Lock it in, lock it in, lock it in, lock it in. 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 Whoa.
Target filled.
Holy shit. Well, we locked that in, but check this out. This is one of the biggest buys I've ever seen. Someone is trying to buy 1,500 contracts. Usually when you see this deep red on Bookmap, that's like 60 contracts. This is 1,500 contracts. Someone is trying to save the market at 935. So there's a real shot of a bounce there. That's 1,500 contracts. Like I said, like when we use Bookmap, this color red is like over 50. Like that's a big deal. If there's like a pending order for over 50 contracts, especially 75 contracts, this is 1,500. That's ridiculous. That's almost 30x what we normally see for a big order. 30x larger than a big order, which kind of makes this whole thing interesting because there's a real shot of a bounce there. But if this person gets clipped, like if they just get steamrolled, it actually shows you how aggressive the bears are. If they absorb this sell side liquidity, or excuse me, buyers, this is buy side liquidity. If the sellers steamroll this guy and like they don't look back, that actually gives you a sentiment idea of like how bad this is. Matt, do you invest in GRNY, Timely Fund Strategy ETF? I have no idea what GRNY is. I know what Tom Lee is, and I know like about him and what he does, but no, I don't fuck with GRNY. Wow. 935. 1,500. What if you're trading NQ? Watch that. Like it's just like it's living by its lonesome right here. Living by its lonesome. Anyway, like I said, locked in 190. It ended up being 195. A little bit of slippage favoring me. So that's the one trade. I'm not trading this account today because I already passed the test. I'm waiting to upgrade it. And then I still have all 20 of my performance accounts on Apex right here. 5 of them are up 1.6K. And then the other 15 are up around on average 9K. All right. This is our first attempted bounce of the day. The question is it going to work? Our first attempted bounce of the day, will it work? The Mag 7 is getting destroyed. The S&P 500 was getting destroyed, finding a bit of a buyer recently. Let me see if I can reload that. We don't need this for right now. All right, Microsoft catching a bid, vol running into 17, having a bit of an issue. This is going to be the interesting one right here. This before when I was talking about the retest of 50, this will be telling. Support, support, support. It breaks, makes a fresh low, hits an arbitrary level. We bounce back up. Let's see if it can recapture 50, 52. If we do, I would say you have a shot at 65. But if this ends up just being a lower high, that's when I'd be looking for the puke down to the next key gamma level. That's when I'd be looking for the puke. Wow. I was a little bit slow. I could have gone short at 85. How are we looking over here? Mag 7 still pretty weak. That's getting hit. All right, so 35 is still these buyers. Do I want to trade this early? We're 15 minutes into the day. That's not the craziest thing. But I wonder if I should size it down. Oh, hang on. I'm watching this low. We know as of right now, there's a large buyer right here at 60, at 35. I was tempted to go short there, but in all reality, I was too slow to react to it. And I'm not complaining. Dude, vol is high right now. What are we doing? Okay, we're still seemingly coming back for this retest of 50. So maybe it's good. Maybe I just need to take a beat. Obviously, if you got in very early today, that was quite a bit of money to be made. And I did take the one Orvo trade. But maybe I just need to be a bit more calm and really wait for this retest. I thought right here at 944, we bounce, failure, lower high, but it looks like it's getting a retest. So I might have just gotten lucky here by being a little bit slow. Because from a technical perspective, that was the setup I wanted right here. We bounce back up, starts to fail. It just so happened to actually make a higher low. We haven't really made a higher high yet. Maybe I just need to chill for a second. The Mag 7's still getting hit. Oh, okay. So I avoided this. Look at this. The Delta just started ripping. Someone is selling puts. So they're not getting into calls. I think we have some profit taking right here. 0 DTE put profit taking right there on the S&P 500. You can see this light blue line just ripping. So this isn't necessarily bull stepping in, to be clear. This is not people buying the dip, most likely. This is, yeah, calls are getting sold. So calls are actually using this pop as an opportunity to get out. This is people probably taking their profits on puts, most likely. I'm not definitively sure. We just know people are selling puts. They might be selling to open. Probably they're selling to close, most likely. We'll know that at market close. But all I could tell you is the fact that both blue lines are going up means they are selling 0 DTE puts. Maybe selling to open, probably selling to close. All right. So we have that bounce back at 50. So the first attempt on the bearish side to break this down was not so good, but it wasn't really the bulls defending it right here in the past, whatever, from 942 to 946. You could see it. I'm showing it to you right here. This pop, it was actually short-term bears, 0 DTE bears, as in it expires today. It was them locking in their profits. So they were probably targeting this level. And when they overshot it, they're like, great, we like our profits, and we pop back up. So, once again, this is not bulls defending it. It might turn into bulls defending it. That's just not what we're seeing at the exact moment. And I'm watching very closely because even though momentum is telling us the bears are in control, 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute, 5, 10, 30 and are all bearish. The 4 hour, you can watch on ES 850. NQ bearish, 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 4 hours still bullish. So on the shorter time frames, the 5, the 10, and the 30 on ES and NQ, they're all bearish. So momentum is telling me bearish, but the timing of this could be very, very important because we just bounced 130 points in NQ like it was nothing. We bounced 130 points. So even if today ends up being horrifically bearish or moderately bearish or even just a little bit bearish, you have to be careful about timing because even on bearish days with 130 point bounce, you could blow out your entire account. And I'm not the most interested in blowing out my entire account today. So right here, we're coming up to my next level, 65. And we're actually also coming up to the overnight session high here at 80. So that's about 20 more points. Let's see. We have this overshoot. I wonder if it's going up. And do we keep pushing? Is this like an overreaction and we fully recover and we get back in here and do like a 50% recovery? Or do we get up here and we get smacked? It's interesting because we're coming to a key level. We're coming to the overnight trading session low on NQ, and we're coming up to a key gamma level and the start of the transition zone on SPX. If you're making a bet right now on who wins, it is 50-50. I think the more shrewd way to approach this is just to watch. Do we bounce up, make a higher low, and keep going? Great, be bullish. Do we start to turn right here? Great, be bearish, and your risk is the recent high. We don't need to overcomplicate this at all. Look at that. Just a perfect touch. Right back up to this level, right back up to this level. It's a game of 50-50 right now. I'm also watching vol. How's the Russell looking? The Russell went green. What the fuck? How did the Russell go green on that? The Qs are down 0.8%, the SPY's down half, and the Russell's up 0.3%. Bitcoin's down 2%, Meta's down 11%. Apple's green. Everything else is red. All right. What do we have going on here? Be careful chasing this. Price is exploding on the Mag 7. Options is not agreeing. Options is still at the lowest delta reading of the day. Maybe it changes. Maybe people become a bit more bullish in the options market in the next minute. All I could tell you right now is this pop from 945 to 950, this 5-minute pop here, the options market has not given a shit about it. But on the S&P 500, they have right here. So very different reaction. Price is exploding since 945. S&P 500 Delta just got that flow alert as well. But even this, you have to be careful. It's more so of puts being sold. Yeah, some calls have been bought probably off that 50 recapture, but it's more so of the put delta is moving this. Whenever you see these little rallies, not little rallies, large rallies, it's very important, at least in my opinion, to understand the structure of it. And the fact that this push is being driven by a lack of bearishness rather than bullishness, it's something to know. If this is going up because everyone's piling into calls, okay, that tells you something about like the mindset, the psychology of the current market. People are actively bullish. We can see here, they're a little bit bullish, but if anything, we're seeing like really profit taking come in, probably people swinging shit overnight and saying, hey, cool, we're happy with our profits. And then it leads to this. Just be careful. This bounce right here, as you can see in the Mag 7, is on very shaky ground. The Mag 7 options market, the combination of Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Tesla, has not bought this bounce at all. They have not bought this bounce whatsoever. Maybe in a minute it changes. But as of this moment, they are not buying the tech bounce. So even though we bounced a good, whatever, $4, they did not buy it. Okay, we on the S&P 500, we are officially in the transition zone. Like I said, target 1 was 65, target 2 would be 90. That's a bit away, 18 points away. That's a reach, but it might get there. I cannot believe the NQ just bounced from 940 up to almost, Jesus. It's almost bounced 200 points. I am so incredibly happy I did not throw on that short when I thought about it right here. I was thinking about going short at 944. I would have, obviously my risk would have been this recent high, but geez. And like the only reason I didn't do it was I was too slow to react. And from a technical perspective, we sold, we bounced, you had good risk. Like that was a decent trade. It obviously just didn't work, but I feel very fortunate that I just arbitrarily avoided it. Like just by pure luck, I avoided not going short on this bounce breakdown. I would have been manhandled. Wow. All right, let's see if this turns all the way back down. I would have been absolutely manhandled if I took that. Well, hey, sometimes it's better to be lucky than it is to be skillful. Strong market? What are you talking about? The SPY and the Qs are red. All right, let's see. It's still going. We're still making, ever since 940-ish, we're making higher highs and higher lows. Patience, patience, patience. We're making that Nike swoosh recovery thus far. What's interesting about it is vol is not going down really. Vol kind of stopped here at 1650. Vol is chill. Even though the SPY and the Qs are skyrocketing right now, pay attention to how vol has stayed flat. Actually, vol just ticked up a little. Something is mismatched here. And the Mag 7 has not caught a bid in the options market. We got this giant pop in the price of Mag 7 and no one is touching options on it. If you look at this underneath, I get that price is exciting. And you're like, yo, that's a good rip. Something's mismatched here. Look at this. Mag 7, no one's touching it. Looking at VIX, the VIX is upticking. The VIX barely went down. It went from 17 to 1650 on this, $5, $4 pump on the SPY. Something is off here, folks. Something is off. Someone's calling out for a 10 a.m. reversal. It might be that. We've been seeing a lot of 10 a.m. It's not every single day, but it seems recently that it's kind of noteworthy how many 10 a.m. reversals there are. Vol, pay attention to the top right of your screen. Vol's catching another bid here. Vol is catching another bid. I've only made one trade today, and that was the robot trade, the Orbo breakdown. Yeah, I actually made money going short today somehow, even though everything is ripping to the upside. Made 195, and I haven't traded anything else yet. But what I do want to see is this. Oh, okay, we made a 2 standard deviation move and bounced right out. So a little bit of math involved in that one as well. A little bit of math involved in that one. This yellow line is the 2 standard deviation move. We basically just pierced it and then bounced right back up. We're coming up to VWAP. That could be a rejection point. We have some of these technical. Look, we just riding that 2 standard deviation all the way down. Vol is picking up here. What time is it? 9:56. Mag 7 is still flat. Oh, we got to 73. 73. Here's VWAP. Is it a rip all the way up to VWAP at 58 here? That's still another, how many ever points? Was this 58? Do we think it's going to hit VWAP, or do we think it's going to undershoot it by 10 points? It hit 48. This white dash line is the volume weighted average price. What a day we are having. What a day we are having over here. Oh, everything's still pretty strong. The 10, the 20, and the 50 are all bullishly stacked. The super trend is bullish. We have this VWAP target. Price is slowing down a little bit on SPX. Dude, the Mag 7 just hit another delta low, even though price is popping. This is a crazy mismatch. Something doesn't make sense. Either the bulls aren't getting the memo or the bears aren't getting the memo. Something is mismatched, team. It'll miss it by a tick. You think it'll go up to like 57.50? It'll just go to this and dump? Well, we'll see. So VWAP right here, there's a lot of people trying to sell right at VWAP, 60 or something, 68. Has that grind up. Quite the push. Yeah, here's VWAP. There's a lot right where my cursor is, a couple points above. That's exactly on Bookmap where you have this sell side liquidity. So this white dash line up here in the top right, that's your VWAP level. heat map is saying people are trying to sell at 60 and 67.5. 131 contracts, sizable, and actually 80. So today, the amount of contracts we're seeing being played today is larger than normal. Like these pending orders are quite a bit larger than normal. Are we failing at VWAP? Maybe I could draw this a little bit better. We'll see what this trend line looks like. A little bit of a flag going on here. 15, what is that risk? That's all the way up to 40. Well, we dip, almost go for the gap fill. People playing it a little too aggressively probably already got blown out. VIX is still upticking though. That should be a concern. The Russell's starting to turn, but watch the VIX. VIX is upticking as we're going flat. Mag 7 just hit another delta low. Look at, they're just getting out of their calls. They're selling calls like no other. No one's even touching puts. Look at all these calls just getting goosed. Wow, it just blew through like no other. Got back up to VWAP. This is strange, folks. This is really weird. Lot of mismatches right now. 10 a.m. reversal. You think it's a blow off top 10 a.m.? Could be. Let's see. Were they just going for the VWAP test and they dump it? Your guess is going to be as good as mine. All I can tell you is we're in for quite a show here. We're either going to be seeing one of the most impressive illogical recoveries or just one of the most brutal fake outs. They run it up to VWAP just to dump it again. Whatever we're watching here, it's going to be a crazy one. Look at that. That's nuts to me. SPY just got a big pop. SPY's chilling here. All right, let's watch for this breakdown. Watching for that breakdown. And we're watching for this breakdown. We went up to 82.83. We're right at this dip low overnight here around midnight. The price is still strong. Remember, all these EMAs, they're all properly stacked. We kind of went up to VWAP. Took a little bit of heat there. We're maybe dipping. So this upsloping trend line, interesting price, like linear price regression. The 50 EMA pretty much aligns with it. And we just hit it. Oh, this range is so large, though. Maybe we're about right there. See, we caught ourselves right at the trend line and the 50 EMA. The question is this going to fail? All right, a little bit of a higher low still. The bulls are keeping it intact. These buyers are aggressive. It's impressive. Uh-oh. Will they be able? If they snap this, how much trouble are they in, folks? If they snap this, how much, if they take out that? The Mag 7, there are no buyers to be found. SPY starting to tilt a little bit.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
We're taking a stab at it. The old college try. We're taking a stab at it. I'm trying to front run the 100 level just in case it's like a key psychological level. Unfortunately, that's what apparently a lot of other people are thinking it looks like. Oh, fuck, is it a fake out? I was trying to take the snap of this trend line in the 50. Oh, do I want to close it quickly? I don't want to let this one get away from me. Well, if we snap this, if we snap 12, I can move my risk even lower. Oh, come on. Did I play this one right? I was being patient for the entry. Come on. I'm short at 18. That's 29. That's only 10. Lock
Order
in.
filled.
Nice. Okay. Removing the risk. We don't need this anymore. All right. Let's see if we get the unwind. Let's see if we get the unwind, team. Let's see if we get the unwind. Watching the 100. I assume there's going to be somewhat of a fight here. How big's this bounce going to be? Is it going to knock me out? This is 92. We saw support here. Right where...
Order filled.
All right. I made some money on it. Bad slippage. But whatever. I was green. I didn't get completely fucked. Larger bounce than I wanted it to be. We're in a weird transitional zone. Protected myself just in case it rips. Like this right here. Now it'd officially be in the red. So basically protected myself. Kept things green because right here, sometimes this event happens, which is why I was so aggressive with the stop movement, just because I get that vol's hot right now. Vol's a little hot. Paying attention to this potential EMA flip. 92 is support. Took a stab at it. I like how I handled it. I actually think I handled that well. I didn't want to, because right here, for all I know, what if it just keeps ripping and then boom, I'm deeply in the red. I'm more concerned about that rather than the flip case of, well, what if it goes up but then breaks in your way? Well, what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't? And now we might be able to actually play off a trend, a price structural change right here. Went back up to VWAP, seemingly got rejected. If you took this short at 46, I don't mind that at all. I think that's actually somewhat of a good trade. You could short 46. You could risk something like 60. You could risk 82. If you took that VWAP smack right here, that's a good trade. And at this point, 15 points in your favor, you could probably even set a break even if you want. If you want to be super conservative about it. But this is our... If since 940, this is our first lower high that we've seen. And depending on your time frame, technically a lower low as well. But let's see, the 1 minute didn't break. The 1 minute to break, we have to get through this 90 level. So this is now getting time frame specific. On the 500, we put in a lower high. On the 1 minute, we didn't. On the 1 minute, we're going sideways ever since 950. So this is getting nuanced. Oh, maybe a double rejection here? Or is it a higher low and we're about to break through cup and handle? Oh, I was wondering if this would waterfall here. Obviously, it reverted pretty strongly. We're about to find out. Could be a double top rejection. Same level. Ran right up to that 55, 56. We just took out this low. Damn, these ranges are just so large. It's not necessarily the easiest to sit with these when you're playing with size because you're risking quite a bit. Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother.
Order submitted.
Come on, fill it. Fuck.
Order
There
filled.
we go. Cool. De-risk. How much can I de-risk just in case there's another strong bounce there? Switch it up to the 100. All right, I need to be careful like I was last time because we can see these bounces are huge. Fuck, am I going to get caught in another bounce? How big are these bounces? Okay, I locked in 450, so technically I could risk that. That's a little bit more than I want to risk right now, but I have to give it a little room to breathe. I have to. This isn't my real target. I just moved it there just in case there's like a weird flush. Fuck. Is it going to be another bounce? Do I just want to go break even on this? Come on, vomit. Break it. Break it. Break down. Because then I can move this. I could use this as my risk. 101. And I love that. That's a psychological level as well. Come on. All right. At this point, we're taking all risk off the table. Stop is to break even. I've already locked in 450. That's my worst on the day. And maybe I could get lucky and catch a trend. We're going fishing, boys. We're going fishing. Stop is at break even. If there's another little puke here, I'll move it again. All right. What was this dip? I'm looking at 53. We don't need this. I can move it. I kind of like my stops at break. I'm not risking any money. I want to be clear. I locked in 450. I'm up 1.2K. I'm looking at this. So we have these interesting successions of lows. I kind of want to move it to 105. All right, I'm moving it to 6 points in the money. I'm looking at this wick high. This thing has been so snappy that I don't want it to like blow 20 points out. And if I get knocked out here, it's going to make me $500 on the day, and I'm happy with that, especially just like with this increase involved. And yet I still have a small chance of this like vomiting in my favor. So we're going to see how this goes. But I mean, look at this. Like we're moving 10 points like it's nothing. So I don't mind this setup at all. I'm protecting myself. I think this is a strong conservative way to do it. I'm giving myself a little bit of breathing room to maybe get a shot, but if it moves much against me, I'm going to be out. So this is my second trade. I should, in reality, call it here. Fuck, it's coming for me, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, fuck. Well... Let's see. Here's the 100. Maybe I'll get lucky. I don't know. All I can tell you is I'm doing the best I can, you know? You know, team? I feel like I'm handling my risk well. I feel like I had enough patience to get in. The first trade, I think I handled it well, kept myself green, just not my luck. This one, I think I'm using reasonable levels. And in fact, I might be able to go down to like 102. But even that, 102 versus 106, who cares? It's more of like, I'm in this if I could catch the vomit. Like if there's like a 50-point puke, that's where I'm going to be making my money. All right. I have my max profit 100 points. I'm short at 112.25. My profit is all the way down here at 112. So I'm not going to reach beyond that. If that hits, awesome. But if anything, I'm just going to keep trailing the price. Or I'm going to try to keep trailing the price. Fuck. Like, look at these bounces, dude. It's ripping. It's just moving 20 points like it's nothing. Something crazy is going on. 90. What was this low? 60. Uh-oh. Is it coming for me? We have lower lows, but we might also now be getting higher highs. I need it to get rejected like pretty soon for this to work. I need this to get rejected pretty soon. Fuck.
Order filled.
Tag me out. Tag me out. All right. I made about 600. Maybe there's going to be another setup. I was trying, like maybe it was going to waterfall. I gave myself a chance to be in it. It happens. It happens. And at this point, well, I'd be slightly green right now, but you just like, look how crazy today is. You never know what's going to happen. And maybe if it vomits out, maybe I reestablish. At this point, maybe I should go down to one contract. Just because like the vol is getting so like that was a decent short right there. You could short at 105. You're risking 117. I like the way I played both. I feel like I've been pretty good with the risk. Like sometimes it just doesn't break your way. A re-entry right here was good because you had defined risk. You probably already locked in one. I actually really like how I played it. The SPY flow is starting to calm down. The Mag 7's never recovered. I'm telling you, like, this whole pump seems sketchy. The vol did not drop. Damn. Man, it really did. Well, when I say just wicked me out, it literally went above by 11 points. That's $200. So you can't kick yourself for that. But see how we have this, I hate this pattern. We have these lower lows, but now you have a higher high. So I hate, this is the worst. Honestly, I don't mind that amount because right now I'd be sweating. I'd be like, okay, I'm short at 112 and I'd be happy that I'm on the right side of super trend. I'd be happy that I'm on the right side of VWAP and all of this. But right here, the fact that we popped that much, it just shows you the vol right now in the system. I'm thinking about sizing down and taking this. Oh, dude, we are moving so many points so quickly. So many points so quickly. I could have re-entered there at 105. And now that we're already at 65, I don't know if I want to chase it to 40 points. You saw that I almost sized down to take it. I was thinking about entering here at 75. And honestly, at this point, entering at 75, you could probably just set your stop to break even and see if you have a runner, like especially after already trading twice. This pop right here, just the fact that we took out these highs, it's dangerous. You don't know how high the pop's going to be. I don't mind this stop at all. I truly don't. Because did it end up breaking in my favor? Would I be up whatever, more money right now? Of course. But think about the other situation. What if it just kept popping and you give everything back and you blow out your accounts? You have to assume the worst case scenario. That's how you can't trade in la land and say, okay, but like, what if it does do this? And what if it does work? It's like, yeah, but also remember, one big misstep and the game's over. You can win and win and win and the game's on and on and on, but one stupid thing and the game is over. So do I mind this? Yeah, it's kind of one of those oh shucks things that like, yeah, whatever. Maybe if I had a better entry here on this breakdown at 23 instead of 12, I could have kept the break even. It would have never tested it. But that's just like a little slippage. This thing's moving so fast. Like, don't beat yourself up for the things that like are really hard for you to control. Like this woulda, coulda, shoulda thing, when you focus on that, that's like when I find, at least for me and my personality, where you start to get close to tilted because you're like, well, if I did play it perfectly, and then all of a sudden, if you're using that as like your measuring stick, well, of course you're never going to play it perfectly. So then you're going to be pissed off. And then if you get pissed off, well, all of a sudden now you're like, well, this is the time for me to trade bigger and do more and do something stupid. And I just think that's really dangerous.
Order submitted.
All right, we're playing small. I went down to one contract now because I've already made good money, and I wish I was in at 72, but that's fine. What was this target? 12? On the breakdown of 38, I want to go to break even. My risk is just currently this recent high. I could move it up to 94, but I just don't. 84, even that. I don't know. I sized down because if I played two contracts and this one doesn't work, I'd be red on the day, and I don't want to give it up really. Part of me is actually thinking about just trying to see if I could get degenerately lucky moving the stop to break even right now and just take on no risk. That's what I'm going to do. No risk, free play, whatever. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's a very low odds of this working, but I've already made $600. Come on. So I moved my stop way too soon, but maybe I just get lucky and I never get retested. Maybe. It's about, is it going to hit me? Like I said, super low odds, but I don't care if it's low odds because I'm taking on no risk. Who cares if it's low odds if it's some odds of you making money and low odds of you just being break even? Who gives a shit?
Order filled.
Yeah, knocked me out. Technically, there was a little slippage there. I had it at break even, but it gave me a fill 2 points. What did I have it at? Like 58 or something like that. Something like that. And that's why you do it, because if it keeps going, you don't know. But yet, if it did vomit, I was going to be there. The guy with the 1500 is still there? That's kind of fucking crazy, dude. I still feel like this is going to have some sort of big fucking puke. I am still playing size down. I don't know if... That guy is still there. That's crazy. All right, so I'm up. I have 25 points of wiggle room. It feels like we just keep going up and it's getting smacked. This was a bit outsized. That knocked me out. It's unfortunate because I could have ridden it all the way down to here and probably would have been up a K on the day. Oh, I'm really questioning if I just want to stop it here. 500 on 20 accounts, that's 10K. And on this craziness, it's just, part of me is really think that if you can catch, like it feels like we're going to be getting a big move. And if you could just get on the right side of it and your wrist isn't, like you just get to ride it. But I'm playing the stop super aggressively. How's Bookmap looking over here?
Order submitted.
All right, quickly updated the risk, moving this down. Should I just do another freebie play? Fuck it. I don't even care at this point. Let's just do freebies until one of them hits. Stop's already break even. I don't give a shit. Oh, it's all about capital protection. If it bounces up like it's already been before, stop's already break even. And high odds chance that it bounces up. But if I can catch the puke, that's what I'm after. Because if I don't, whatever. I already made 500. 600. Come on, fucker. Come on. Hit 6. My fill was at 5. Fuck, dude, this is moving so fast. Wow. Dude, we're just ripping every 100 ticks. We're moving almost like 8 points, 10 points, like it's nothing. Come on, just snap 17. Oh, we touched it. Come on. Fuck. Come on, fucker. Come on. Dude, a lot of buyers right here at 26,000. And it makes sense. It's a key technical level, psychological gamma. I get it. And that's why I fuck. Come on, dude. I just need like one bar could fill this. Regardless, I'm making money, by the way. I'm up. Fuck, dude, this is... I'm getting ants in my pants on this one.
Order filled.
Fuck. All right, tagged me. I just didn't want to take that risk. Fuck. All right, we're climbing up. 800 per account. Oh, dude, that was off by 2 points. I had that fill at 5 and it hit 650. It was off by a point and a half from my fill. VIX is picking up. Yeah, I've been pointing that out, dude. Like, I think this dumps. It's just a question of when, and can you do it in a good risk management way? Like, VIX is going and going and going. Actually, Jesus, it's really picking up. The fact that we've, like, I think something's about to happen. It's just, can you take advantage of it in a low risk methodology where... Because, like, we are getting 50-point bounces like it's nothing. So if you mistime it, you're wrong, and you're going to be wrong big. I'm going to give it a second because I could just stop here. I'm at 800. These accounts, 61, 66, like, they're all looking pretty good. They're all looking pretty good. I want to see. Do we have a lot of buyers? Yeah, right here. You have 150 at 600 flat. Right there. It knocks me out. But even that, I had to take smoke of another 15 points. That's $300. Like, these little movements, even though they're quote unquote little, the dollar value is big. So I'm telling you, this is the time to size down and be like very, very careful about your risk. Very careful about your risk. Actually, I like this view a bit better.
Order submitted.
De-risking I'm just watching it. Come on. It's just like I feel with high confidence that's going to touch 26,000. It's just a question of when and can I take the heat in the middle of it? And I really just don't want to take that much smoke because I'm up a decent chunk. Come on. I'm watching that trend line breakdown. I'm watching these players right here. Fuck. What's this?
Order
shit?
filled.
I was too slow to react. Dude, that's how crazy this is. This is just going nuts. Like, Wow, that was a huge pop out of fucking nowhere. That was so fast. Yeah, this game's getting a little crazy. It's definitely the time to size down. Wow. Well, at least I had to stop because that would have blown out both. What was that, though? Holy cow. Look at that. Just woof. Ripped it. What was the delta? The delta's still getting hit. The SPY just got a weird pop there. That's what happened. Yeah, right here. Weird pop. IWM getting a bid, SPY getting a bid. We'll see if it holds or not. Something weird just happened. This is just a game of risk reward. A game of risk reward, 34, 56, 20 points. That would be break even on the day. Every time it gets up here, it's just smashed. Is the third one all? See, every single time it gets to the 50 EMA, we overshot it, smashed. We got to it, smashed. I wonder if this is it or if it's actually trying to switch trend right now off the 26,000 and we need to actually be a bit more patient. It's showing a bit more strength. I have no position on right now. Obviously, I'm up on the day about 8K. I gave back. I was way too slow. I was trying to move it to this recent wick. So I would have been, but that it happened so fast that unless you had a bot, I'm not sure that you could have updated your risk manually fast enough. But here's let's zoom out. You can see the overall picture of what's happened. We had this huge pump that was seemingly like completely fictitious. Then we got hit, but see how things are now curling like right here? It's always these curl areas that you have to be careful because you ride the wave, great. You ride the wave, great. But it's when they start to get choppy. So right here, are we just putting in this higher low? Or is this going to be like before at 11:15 where it's actually getting smashed? What's that risk? So if I go right here and my risk is this recent high, it's break even on the day. So I'm not risking really losing money. It's just risking. But we are starting to curl up. How's the flow look? Let's be smart about it. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute is bearish. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute is bearish. The Mag 7 is at a fresh delta low. The SPY got a pop though. That's something worthwhile to be considered. You need to watch this. Is this going to keep popping? Because we basically reacted right at 65, this key level on SPX that we've been paying attention to. This one might need a little bit of a breather, but the VIX is back up at 17. See how even though in these pops, the VIX is still pretty much just holding a breather. Let's see. Let's give this a second. Can you get in with minimal risk? How many freebie trades can you take? How many freebie trades can you take?
Order submitted.
Oh, I don't like this. I got a bad fill. Off by about 10 points. I wanted it in at 42. I got a fill at 37. As you can see, I'm risking this recent high. So if this one gets clipped, I will be slightly red on the day, but super manageable. I mean, when the accounts are up 10K, if you go down $100, who cares? But basically, I was like, oh, we got above the EMAs like before, started to fail. You never know what the next bar is going to be, but right here, you get above all the EMAs, it starts to fail, and it had a huge vomit. I don't know if that's how it's going to happen this time, but the risk reward is worth it. It would have been more worth it if I got the fill at 46. Like I said, I was off by about 10 points. But hey, we'll see. Maybe I can make up for it by being a bit more aggressive right now about my risk management. Or I could always close it out early if I feel like it's going to get hit. But playing with the casino's money, like I said, it seems as if my risk right now, if I'm wrong on this, I'm going to go down 100 on the day, which is manageable. Or is it 200? Whatever it is. It's manageable. I'm willing. And I sized down, and that's exactly why. Come on, stop, turn. No, it's about to click me. Turn. Nope.
Order filled.
There we go. All right, 200 on the day. Shit. Well, that's a fucking bummer. To me, this looked like this over here, where we overshot all the EMAs. The general trend is down. We get one of these dagger bars. It bounces up a little bit, and then we puke. It just clearly did not happen, obviously, this time. It happens. It happens. And, okay, is this what it's going to be? It clips me out. And I don't mind it because, remember, the other situation is if it just keeps going. Dude, is this going to fucking break? No. It clips me out just to do this. It happens. Oh. So it would have been break even if I got that fill I wanted right when it switched. Oh, what is this? 30, 33. What's this risk? 45, 30. So that would put me down. Now the risk is starting to get large. So to go short here, the risk is all the way up here. I'm not happy with that. That's a little too much. That's a little bit too much. Even playing with one, I've been sizing down now on these trades. Just because the range is getting so big in like the most little movements that I think it's appropriate, whatever your quote unquote normal size is. You could see by the range, we're moving 20, 30 points like it's nothing. I don't think this is a time that you need to be like over betting. And I think it's a time that you need to be very, very careful with your risk. And there it fucking goes. Dude, how unlucky is that? Son of a bitch, dude. The play that I was looking for this whole fucking time clipped to the tune of 6 points. There would be another play, but I can't just go short here because the risk is too much. The play would be if it bounces up to 50 and fails. I need a point to play off of. That's like for this to work for me. It's all about how much risk are you taking in the trade. I'm confident in it hitting 26,000. It's more of can you structure a play to play 26,000 with risk that you're accepting. So for example, if I go short at 20, 30, 40, 50, I'm not willing to risk it up to 75. So I would need this bounce to not be a fresh high, and I would need it to basically start to fail right here. And we'll see how this one plays out because this might be the trade.
Order submitted.
Too many. What the fuck? We hit the late rate limit thing again. Fuck. I'm afraid to cancel it because if I cancel all orders.
Order canceled.
All right, so I need to do an OCO, none. What was this one? 56. I'm short buy stop market.
Order submitted.
And then we'll do this one at. Well, give this a second because I don't know how it works with the rate limit. I just wanted to get the stop back in. I was afraid of deleting the orders, not having the stop because this is moving so like insanely quickly that to not have a stop is pretty fucking dangerous. So what is this? 54. What I want to do is what I was doing before and just quickly see if I could quickly move it to break even. I will if it breaks 16. Dude, that was a tough one. Dude, I'm happy I'm sizing down. The smartest thing I've done today is not only be aggressive about the stops. I actually don't mind any of my trades. I feel like I'm having like a good thesis and I feel like, fuck, here we go. Is it going to be, again, it clips me?
Order filled.
It's clipping me, and then it's going to just puke anyway. What time is it? It's 10:40. And then it comes right back down. It clips me. I'm just unwilling to give it that much extra room, because in the event that I'm like wrong, it goes all the way up. And like, that's just such, right here. It just fucking clips me. Damn, dude. Well, we're pushing on this wall of 26,000. What time is it? SPY is picking up a little bit. All right. The trend, Vol's taking a little bit of a hit too. All right. I'm actually not so upset that one hit me out, because this one might be turning. Technically, we have a higher low. And if this wants to push 80 or 90, I'll be very happy I was out of the position. Very happy I was out of the position. Overtrading? I don't think it was overtrading. It depends on how you define it. I define overtrading as you start trading things that are not your setup. I mean, I've shown you every single setup, and I've had every single piece of risk. I think a lot of people erroneously call overtrading the amount of trades, but sometimes if you trade once, it's overtrading because the setup wasn't there. In my book, the definition of overtrading is, were you trading times when your setup did not exist? So sometimes overtrading could be a trade because you just randomly traded. While other times, maybe you traded 10 times. But what if your setup was there every single time and you managed it properly every single time? I think a lot of people in the world of retail trading just think it's a pure number count. Hey, but I showed you every single one. I was trading with trend. I had risk. I was waiting for the risk to get de-risked. And right away, I was putting my risk to like where I wanted to be, and I followed it aggressively. It just so happened. I mean, look at this. We sold every single bounce. I was trying to play the crush. It just so happened that right here, like these last two bounces, we just didn't get fresh lows. But you don't know that, because before we did get the crush, with a very natural target of the intraday low. Like, you don't know where it's going to turn around. That's just simply not how I look at it whatsoever. Very well could bounce off the daily high. Yeah. No, you were hunting the water. You were over trading because you were hunting the waterfall puke. You said it yourself. Why is hunting for a waterfall puke over trading? If you do it with proper risk or management, if you're only taking paper cuts, but then time that you get the reward, you're up big. Why is that over trading? You're connecting two things that don't make sense. Because you're looking for a waterfall puke in an environment that could have a waterfall puke, that then somehow means you're over trading. That's stupid. I have a feeling that is commentary from a person who's not a profitable trader. In a fair value gap, no idea where it's going back. Who gives up? Fair value gaps are the dumbest fucking thing ever. Of course you want a waterfall. You're saying you're trading and you don't want it to waterfall in your favor? That's the fucking dumbest thing ever. Yeah, no. If you're ever looking for it to rapidly go in your favor after you create it, that's overtrade. That's the dumbest fucking thing. Turn a green day red, but it's not overtrading by your decision, by your definition. Okay, yeah, that's from the mindset of people who don't understand math. If your trade setup is there, you should trade it. If your trade up setup isn't there, you don't know if it's going to work or not. That's like, this is why most retail traders are not going to be profitable traders, because they don't understand basic math. If your definition of a trade is good because you made money and bad because you lost money, which is inherently that, you overtraded because you went from green to red. Well, what if it was the opposite? What if all of my red trades were first and then my green trades got me back to break even? Then it's good that I was trading more. So simply because you reorder the trades, you're now either accepting or not accepting of it. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You don't understand math. You can only base it on the quality of the decision going into the trade. You're not in control of how it plays out. You're in control of your profit target and your risk management. But if you're defining things by the trade's good because it made money or the trade's bad because it lost money, no, There are very good trades that you're going to lose on because you managed it properly. And there's very bad trades that you might just get lucky and you made money on, but it's because of a fluke. The definition of a good trade and a bad trade is not did you make money or did you lose money. And I mean, at the end of the day, you guys can chirp me as much as you want, but the accounts are up $9,000 each. That's up a shitload of money. That's up $100,000 in less than 2 weeks. But yet, yeah, I'm the one who's like not understanding the math of it. Like, it's funny when retail traders try to chirp you because by definition, 95% of retail traders lose money. Like, what are you talking about? It would have been one thing. You are more than fair to criticize me if you're like, no, Matt, you got in this trade. You said this was your risk, and then you moved your risk and you took on more risk and you doubled down and it seemed to be tilted. That's all 100% fair. That's where things get fucked up and people get tilted. And I'm by no means above getting tilted. I've been tilted. You guys have seen me get tilted. It happens. It exists. That's a real thing. But that's when you all of a sudden are trading more contracts than normal. You're taking on more risk than normal. You're trading a trade. You're throwing on positions outside of your system. But if anything, I was sizing down. I actually went smaller and was being more aggressive with my stop. Like, that's how it goes. Well, LOL, I've lost money for years and literally have made more money than ever this year listening to you. I'm stoked about that. That's awesome because you're starting to understand this is a game of math. This is not a game of like trying to have some sort of like clairvoyant prediction of where things are going. It's a game of how often are you right? What's your average win size? What's your average loss size? And are you managing your side? Oh, fuck, I just missed. Right here, this is getting interesting. This breakdown. So when you shoot up, come into the EMAs, you attempt to have the recovery bar and the recovery bar is snapped. I've been doing some research on this exact setup. You puke, recovery bar fails. 70. How much risk is that? 20 points, 400. Am I okay? 25, 15 points. Here's my risk point. It's just, can I get it with a risk that I'm willing to take? With a risk that I'm willing to take.
Order filled.
Buy stop mark. All right.
Order
stop
submitted.
is in. Stop is in. Of course, in this, if a bot traded it, it would have been short at 60, risking 71. I was waiting a little bit because it got that flush, and I was like, oh, fuck, should I take it here at 65? But right here, when you have a big push, it waterfalls, and it's not just this green one. It's the fact that you took out the 10, the 20, and the 30. It tries to revert right here, this bar at 1020. 1046, it breaks that. Right, this is the interesting setup right here. The puke, the recovery fails. You short there in continuation. Your risk is here. At this point, if you're short at 60, you set your stop to break even and you have a freebie play. That is, I actually really, really wish I took that play. And there was one earlier today. This setup that I'm calling out to you, like that's been an interesting piece of my research right here. You had it a little bit at 10:08. I thought I saw a different one. Oh, yeah, right here. You technically had it at 10:16. You vomit through them. Wait, that's not the best example because the EMAs were the opposite way. This is it was bullish, and it's almost the bullish push is failing. Technically, yeah, 10:08 is a good example, but this is the best example of it today. That's the best example of it right here, this bar. You're short at 60. Your risk was 71. At this point, you've already moved. You could probably move it to break even. You could leave it there, or maybe you do a scale out thing. Maybe you locked in one and left one on risk, so it's a break even trade anyway. As soon as you went 11 points in the money, which you've already done, so technically it's freebie. But I would have done it that way if I played with two contracts, but I don't want to play with two contracts because I'm already down on the day, as you can see. And then on top of that, that risk, like this is moving like fucking crazy. Dude, is it going to clip me? The worst thing about today is I very much believe by the end of the day, I will be proven right. And this is going to puke below 26,000. I just am having, because of how much we're moving and how rapidly we're moving, I'm having the worst time creating the position to get into it. This fucker, dude, it's going to knock me again. Dude, fuck. I like the break of all these EMAs. Come on, snap 52. Even though there's a small difference, my entry compared to the entry right there, you could argue. If you want to criticize me, I'm more than happy to tell you where you guys could criticize me. You could have said that this was chasing and I should have waited and got in at 52.50. This bounce off the EMA rejection. That is a 100% fair criticism. You should have said, Matt, right here, the 1047.54 entry, it's a bit chasey. Wait for a bounce. If there is a bounce, there was a bounce. You're short at 52. You're either risking 63 or you're still risking 71, kind of like player's choice. Like that, this one right here, I'm in between. I was either a little too late or a little too early. Better entries at 53, better entries at 61. Like for sure, that's a fair criticism, without a doubt. Without a fucking doubt, that's a fair criticism. Without a doubt. My question now is, do I want to move it to 63? Do I want to move it to break even? All right. Well, at minimum, I'm going to move it to 63. Fuck, dude. All right. So I have to cancel all these orders.
Order canceled.
All right. Well, at this point, I'm going to break even. All right. So
Order
it's a
submitted.
freebie play now, to clarify. Freebie play. I'm almost back to break even. And the magic level is this. Maybe I finally caught a fish. Maybe finally I caught a fish. Maybe. And obviously, if this pukes, I have the option. If you want, you can move it here. This setup, I'm telling you, 1046, this bar setup, where all the EMAs are up, it pukes. It tries to bounce, and the bounce one fails, and it takes out that low. Study this. Now that I've called it out to you, you're going to see it more and more and more. It's the data around it. I haven't completed my analysis on it because it's a recent thing in my laundry list of things to study. It's producing some very interesting numbers. Very, very interesting numbers. All right. Where do we go? 41. Wait, what was that low? Why do I have this other low? I don't know what this bar is for. We don't need this one. We don't. Doge called Matt a traitor instead of a trader. Well, I think it's funny now how everyone was chirping me. Matt, you're over trading by definition because you're going for the flush. You're over trading because you went from green to red. Well, is it over trading that I went from green to red back to green? Like, I don't... Folks, it's a game of math. Okay, let's say you're rolling a die, right? And you roll a die and you don't know on that one particular event if it's going to be good or not. You're just whatever. In your attempt, you're playing a game of rolling die for 5 times. But just because the first one's 3 doesn't mean like you don't roll it the other times. Like it's just, I guess I have a very different mathematical opinion of how to approach the market than many, many retail traders. And I don't mind that because we know most retail traders lose money. And I think the things that are instilled in people are just inherently wrong. Like I deeply believe that. Deeply believe that. And maybe you agree or maybe you disagree, but at the end of the day, it's your money and you could trade how you want. It's my money. I'm going to trade how I want. And I have my results to show for it. Not only did I go from green to red back to green, my trading strategy got me back green on the day, but the accounts are up 9K each. Like, I guess I like the way I approach the market, and I have the scoreboard of my profits to show it. If you like the way you approach the market, great. You don't have to approach the market the way I do. This isn't some sort of authoritarian thing where you have to do what I say. Hey, if your account is in the green and you like how you approach it, fucking have at it. Don't let me get in your way. I don't want to be that dude. About to say screw it and buy some Texas Roadhouse calls. Brian is trying to keep the peace here. Real question, where's AMC headed today? Fucking the depths of hell. The depths of hell. All right. Fuck, I can't do this. Rate limit thing is such bullshit.
Order canceled.
All right.
Order submitted.
So based on that, I'm making $500 no matter what. I have a locked-in loss of 700. So my worst case scenario is I'm down 200. Wait, is Cecilia still in here? Cecilia, am I still over trading? Everyone, if in chat, unless you identify as Cecilia, give me a break. I want to talk to someone who's been chirping me, calling me out, that I'm quote unquote over trading because I'm going for the waterfall. Well, now that I caught the waterfall, is it still over trading? Folks, haters galore. Where are you guys at? Where's the hate train at right now? When this thing fucking slashes through this low at 42 and these green numbers are so big that we don't even have names for them yet, where are they going to be at then? This is a funny thing about social media and the internet is everyone has a fucking opinion and everyone wants to talk the talk. But then by the time it's like, okay, well, show me yours. Show me your results. Show me your reasoning. Show me your math. Everyone just gets real silent, real fucking quick. Real silent, real fucking quick. Megan is short, follow Big Mummy. She probably is short right now. Folks, you have to, like, in this game, you don't know the next bar. I fully admit the next bar might be a giant green bar that knocks me out and I'm down 200 on the day. Simultaneously, the next bar might be a giant red bar that sends us down to 900. I don't know. You have to just understand the things that are in your control and the known variables and the unknown variables. I put my risk at this recent high. If I wanted to, I could put it to break even. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of that because you might have a lot of buyers coming in off of 26,000. I wish my stop was a little bit higher. I can't move it now because of the rate thing. I wish it was above the 50 EMA where we've seen a lot of rejections. Just in case it gets up there, it's rejected. I could keep my position because I like the fill all the way up here. But it's going to be what it's going to be. Like, you just, at a certain point, you have to admit, like, the known things and the unknown things. What is known is when you decide to get in, your risk management and your profit taking. What's not known is the next bar. And, like, people try to cosplay as these fucking, I don't know, advanced quants, and this is going to happen and that's going to happen. No one knows what the fuck's going to happen. You have to have a bull case. You have to have a bear case. You have to have discipline to handle your risk management and your sizing, and you move on with your life. What I would love is if this can puke below, I can then move my stop to where I'm break even on the day. And that's actually my ultimate goal right now. As I've already said, based on some just unfortunate breaks and very large pumps, which, like, think about this. I could have held my very first trade all the way to here and I would have been massively up. But think about the risk that would have come with. So granted, I would be not down 200 on the day. I would be hugely great. I mean, if we go back to my first trade, the very, very first one, I would have been short from 118. I would have been up those points. But just because of risk management, you never know when things are going to turn or not turn. in these pops, it could have just kept going and I've been down. So in hindsight, keeping that first short right here, I was first short at 118, 119, 1003 on the quote unquote 10 a.m. reversal. And I was trying to play this break. I made some money and I got knocked out for break even. Risk management. That's life. I got short again. I could have held that one from 112. All of these would have been up in excess of 100 points. Right here, I still deeply believe that this fails. But just on the off case that I'm wrong and this keeps going, all right, I protected myself. I dug myself. I was in a $700 hole. Now I'm only in a $250 hole. It's just much more manageable. So do I believe that this is going to retest? Yeah, but once again, buyers step in at key levels, so this isn't the craziest thing. And honestly, if this flips and I see this setup again, maybe I could play it again. So in the event that I just wasn't so insanely focused on my potential downside risk of it potentially blowing up in my face, if I didn't focus on that, oddly enough, today I'd be up a bunch more money because I was short 2 contracts. I'd be up 4K right there. 4K right there. Okay, but did it work that way? No, it just didn't work that way. And sometimes shit happens. Like on the flip side, it could keep going. And even if it like does go in your way, oh, do I want to short this? Even if it does go in your way, we'll literally call it 9 times, 9 out of 10. It's that 10th time that you're wrong and you traded it with size that you lose all of your accounts. So even though it sucks and you take a lot of these little like wick hits and blah, 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 you get beat up. It's how you sustain the account going forward, like without a doubt, without a doubt. Actually, let me check the flow really quick here. Dude, the Mag 7 is still down. Like this is one of my major filters. And even on this pop, the Mag 7 is getting clapped. Oh, so SPX is trying to hold this again. All right, so if I were to take this short, 23, 40, 17 points, 340, that puts me down 500 on the day if I'm wrong. But see that, even that, it's always just asking yourself, if you do this trade right now, are you fine with the worst case scenario? Don't focus on the best case scenario. If you go short here, don't be like, yeah, but if it pukes all the way down to 2,900, this is how much money I'll make. Yeah, maybe it does, or maybe it just completely destroys you. You're wrong. Trading is results-oriented, just like poker. If you're not making money, you're not playing the game right. I highly recommend martingale strategy. Well, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. Congrats on being stupid, Daniel. At what point did I not say it's not about making profits? At what point did I not say it's about how much money can you make? But, okay, you're saying you are talking about poker. That would be equivalent to being like, yo, you went all in on a 2-7 offsuit and made a bunch of money. You should play that all the time, thus because you made money on it once. And I'm saying, no, sometimes you're handed a 2-7 offsuit, and then even if you flop the fucking nuts, that doesn't mean it's necessary to play it going forward. Daniel, you're one of these people that's trying to like cosplay as you're intelligent and like, look at me, I know the math and expected value, and you just don't even know what arena you're in. Like you literally do not even like comprehend what you're attempting to say here. Yeah, no, I made money once on 2-7 offsuit, so I'm going to fucking go all in on every single 2-7 offsuit every single time. You're literally, I'm trying to say you should always play the math. Just because you lost a hand in poker and then the next hand you're dealt pocket aces, that doesn't mean you don't play the pocket aces because of the last hand you missed. Same thing in trading. Just because of what's going on in your trading or not trading, you handle the current situation accordingly with ideally the proper management of whatever the mathematical setup is. That's how you do it. So this idea of using the recent hand of poker, that's using the recent trade. Be like, well, that trade didn't work, or it did work, so I should play it. No, they're all statistically independent events, and you just play them accordingly for that exact event. It's basic math, folks. And unfortunately, the education system in the U.S. Just does not give it to us. But anyway, this setup right here is now actually oddly what I'm looking for. See how price has had a huge bounce. The bias is still bullish, or the bias is still bearish on the day. Bearish, 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 bearish. Well, this one's testing right here, but the momentum is more bearish than it is bullish on the 5, the 10, and the 30. Looking at the Mag 7, it's vomiting. That's obviously bearish. So if the S&P 500 tilts, well, all of a sudden, this might fall out of the support at 65, come back to our major test at 50, and then that could give us this setup right here, where we pushed strong, we flipped the EMAs, and then we puke to the bottom EMA. We see one reversal candle, and right here, that short from 60 went all the way down to 80. That was an 80-point gain with a 11-point risk. It was an 8-to-1 risk to reward. What is this word? The statistics. Pocket jacks are a setup hand. Well, we don't have to get into the exact math of poker right now, but yeah, there's a lot of overlaps. I mean, I think poker in many, many different ways. Is it perfect? No, but I think it's actually a very, very good metaphor, trading in general and how to approach some of the math of it. But whatever, if you just want to approach trading with vibes, have at it. I personally have had no success approaching trading with vibes. So if that's how you want to do it, have at it. Ooh, this is a little bit more risk than I want to take on. 30-point risk, that's $600. That would put me down $850 on the day if I'm wrong. I don't at this account. All right, let's wait. Let's see. Are we repeating what happened at 1046? Oh, I could. So the reason why I'm waiting for this is because it gives you better risk. Instead of risking the peak right here, if you short here at 30, your risk is 57. You're risking 30 points. However, if you dip below, bounce, and then puke, we're looking for that green bar. It might not happen. I don't know. It's not like when you're playing poker, you're attempting to predict the flop, the turn, and the river. You just wait to see how it develops. I want to see this bounce up. Because what that does mathematically is you're playing the failure of the bounce, but you're minimizing your risk, because instead of risking 57, you can risk whatever the high is. Technically, we don't have it yet. It didn't break above. It did not break above. I wouldn't mind a touch of 40. Okay. Now, we're starting to set it up. Well, that went a little bit farther than I wanted it to. I would have preferred it just stayed at 40, because this is now, if it fails, this is the new risk point. So that's 20 points of risk. Granted, obviously, we just saved ourselves 33%. But once again, the entry's not until it fails. This could just be a high or low for all I know, but I'm just calling out the similarities of this structure right here to what's going on right now.
Order submitted.
Right. I have a pending order. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. We'll see how it plays out. So once again, this is going to be a short at 27. If it, well, now that kind of fucks the whole thing up. But are we just bouncing from here? I might pull this order. Well, I definitely feel like I should pull
order
this order.
Canceled.
It's just dude, this is moving 30 points like it's fucking nothing. This is a good day to pass tests. If you're trying to pass Apex tests or whatever test, this is a phenomenal day to pass tests. Are we going to run it back? Are we going to maybe awkwardly try to make this setup again? A dip into it. What I'm looking for is a dip below the 50 EMA while all the EMAs are up. See how the 10, the 20, and the 50, they're all stacked on top of each other in the bullish direction. I want to see the dip below the 50, a recovery bar that then fails. This is the perfect setup. Well, now we're going. So trade never entered. We actually, in a short period, this is actually looking bullish. If you were trying to play this bounce off of 26,000 and you missed it, on the flip side, you could have played this recovery here long at 46, risking 26. So right now it's 1 to 2, but at 66, you can lock that in. I would lock it in at 63, which hit there, but I was looking at this recent high. Use Piper indicator. What is the? I don't think Piper's fired today. Let me look at one system. No. In reality, we actually haven't done that much today, based on the ranges that have been created. Vol's taking a bit of a hit. That's interesting as the market's catching a bid finally. How long will it last? How long will it last? That bounce. Maybe I should have just taken off both at that 26,000. But hey, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I feel like that's Monday morning quarterbacking, because what if we went to 26,000 and it broke? Remember, when you get to these key levels, you have a 50-50 shot, roughly. There are certain circumstances where it changes, but not so much that it would derail this particular conversation. So as we puke to 26,000 right here. Okay, so right here, let's play this game that you guys don't know the next bars. I take this short on this breakdown. The first fair criticism is, Matt, you should have waited for the retest, and if it just went without you, whatever, you missed the trade. It ended up retesting. You could go short at 52. You're risking this recent high, and you run it all the way down. So interesting conversation there is at 52, 53. This is where you're short. Yeah, maybe you have this idea of 26,000, but then the question is do you take it there? Or we know that this is a major level on the S&P 500 where we tilt into negative gamma. And if we puke, we might puke 100 points on the S&P 500. So here, it's really easy to Monday morning quarterback and be like, yeah, you should have taken your profits there. That's a key level. But I want to remind you, 50-50 shot that we bounce the way we are right now versus I could have just showed you the chart and I could probably find real-time examples where we come here, it's a little bit of a bounce like this, and then it just vomits and keeps going. The point is you just don't know, and that's why I had my stop. I put my stop at a recent high. I could have been a bit more aggressive here at 13, but for how much it was moving, I thought this was more appropriate. But I find so much of this, education and even viewership, it's all Monday morning quarterbacking. It's all based on like, no, I told you because this is like, you then have the data of how it played out. But before it, like right now, if I were to ask you guys, should you be going long or short at 70? Half of you are going to be right and half of you are going to be wrong. But then yet, if I wait 10 minutes and show you how it plays out from here, well, all of a sudden you guys would have been like, I told you so. And then the other half are going to be like really silent about it. So it's just, that comes back to what I was saying of like, just be very, very mindful of what you know and what you don't know. When you get to key levels, it's a 50-50 shot. And for me, the risk reward was, okay, I'm going to make a little money. I'm going to dig out of the hole if I'm wrong. But if I'm right, all of a sudden the reward is thousands of dollars per individual account. So I thought the risk reward was worth it. And it just, I bet on heads and it came up tails. Hey, like that shit happens. Shit happens. It's going to go that way sometimes. But this idea of Monday morning quarterbacking and knowing where the chart's going to go and then contorting it, that doesn't really help you or anyone, because how's that going to help you in your future trades? Because in your future trades, you don't know where things are going to go. So I think that's something we all, myself included, have to be very, very mindful of if you have any thought or process, but it's being developed because of where things went afterwards. Remember, for actual trading, you do not have that information. You do not have that information. And neither do I, and neither does anyone. Matt, people like to make money but wanting to learn. They want to tell them how to make the easy money. There's no such thing as easy money in this game, unfortunately. There's no such thing as easy money in this game. Big buyer down here at 26,030. A lot of sending buy orders. So I wouldn't be surprised if we are... Oh, and that's actually all the way back here at this guy. Depending on what the VIX does, if the VIX starts to pick back up, once again, if the VIX picks up, if the S&P 500 is getting higher highs and higher lows and equal highs. Okay. If the S&P 500 is pushing 65 back down to 65, if VIX starts to pick up, that's probably going to happen together. I will 100% be looking for this setup again, where my cursor is, where all the EMAs are bullish. We puke down, we try to recover, the recovery fails, I go short, I risk the recent high, and I try to ride it. I'm letting you know what my plan for the rest of the day is. But obviously that's a conditional statement. I would want the VIX to go up, which should happen with the S&P 500 returning to 65. And then from there, we need that particular price setup where we slash through the EMAs, we bounce, the bounce fails, and then I have a good risk point. So it's a lot of conditions, but if those conditions align, honestly, this might have been the trade of the day right here. I was a little late to it. Made decent money. If I had 2 contracts, which I was unwilling to take that risk, I would have locked one in at 26,000, probably 26,005. That would have, I think this was the trade. Because like considering what was happening in the SPY, considering what was happening in the VIX, considering what your risk or reward was right here, I think the trade of the day was short at roughly 1047. I think that was the trade of the day. Someone is saying, yeah, it looks like SPX might just be getting rejected, though. It's just consolidating in this wedge. Watch the wedge. The wedge. We're actually just all of this shit is in one giant wedge. Oh, are we going to get my setup? Not so much. Maybe. We didn't dip below, really. Let's see. Maybe it happens. Maybe it happens. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. My crystal ball doesn't work. But it's looking like it did before. But see here, we got to the 50 and then it bounced right out. I want it more to look like this, where it tries to bounce out. The bounce fails. It gives us a low risk entry. And then if it goes, it goes. And if not, remember, whenever, like, assume you're right and wrong half the time. Like, that's a safe assumption. It's more of how do you manage your risk with it. And if you can keep your risk small, even in crazy days like this, there's a reason why my account's been not even plus or minus $1,000. It's just because of tight risk management. Is it going to happen, though? I'm watching SPX to see if it fails here. SPX has to get below 65. And remember the list of things that I'm looking for. A push to 65, which should be aligned with the VIX picking up. Jesus, what the hell is all this stuff? What the hell is all this stuff? Yeah, it's overall consolidation, lower highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower, like we're getting smacked right there. The Russell's actually showing some strength somehow. Oh, I should note though, on the other side, if you're bullish for some reason, if you're looking for a bullish position, a bounce out of this is strong right here. This bounce at 1108, that was a strong thing to play. You go long, you're risking low, it goes up a 1-to-1 movement, you go break even. Same thing here. I don't know how this is going to break. You tell me, brother. I don't know. If we bounce out of here, if we start to push 60, you could risk 45. You're risking 15 points. As soon as it goes up, whatever, 10, 15 points, stop to break even. If you have a runner, it runs and it didn't cost you anything. Obviously, that's a nice trend up. You're waiting for the dip to go long. You never want to chase those highs. So because of a larger contextual thing going on, I'm looking for a short position. But for those of you looking for a long bullish position, a bounce out of this, you waited for the higher low, you minimize your risk. It's kind of the inverse of what I'm saying right here. If you were bullish, which I just am not, you could be long at 58, risking 45. That's completely acceptable. And then maybe by the time you hit 73, 75, you move that stop to break even. Like that's a complete, like from a math perspective, that's a completely acceptable play. I just happen to not be looking for a bullish position, so I'm not taking it. But you're playing this trend. You waited for the pullback. You didn't chase the high, and you have minimal risk now. That's fine. On this, you're probably going to be right half the time, wrong half the time. Completely acceptable. Why am I not bullish right now? Because oh fuck, dude, this one's it's not exactly the structure, but it's looking interesting. This dirty dog. I can't do it. It's not the exact beat. See, if I took this, that's where you could argue, Matt, you took the trade and it wasn't exactly what you were looking for. But it's looking similar, but it wasn't volatile enough. This could still just be a nice higher low, and yeah. But right there, you're short at 51. You're risking 67. But anyway, why am I not bullish? Because I understand call and put skew. And if you understand call and put skew, you realize that all the people in the derivatives market loading into calls, i.e. a bullish position, are getting absolutely fucking hammered. Absolutely hammered. Like you said, follow the trend, and it looks like it's going that way. But trend is defined by time frame. From 1057 to 1119, you could argue that's bullish. If you look at the 10-minute chart, that's bearish. If you look at the 5-minute chart, that's bearish. If you look at the 4-hour chart, that's bullish. So trend is defined by the time frame you're on. It's not like we always perpetually just have a trend. So like you can make an argument right now that the 5-minute and the 10-minute chart are bearish. However, the 1-minute chart is bullish. So it's just which time frame are you on? That's another thing that I see retail traders commonly get wrong. They think there's a trend. That doesn't exist. There's a trend related to the time frame that you happen to be looking at. And I'm of the mindset, and I believe that the math of the market proves this, that the more time frames that align of like bullish, 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 or bearish, 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 the better odds you have. I think trend alignment is a very important thing to have. But just to be like, oh, we are now bullish, it's like, well, did you look at the 10-minute chart? The 10-minute chart's pretty bearish. Did you look at the 4-hour chart? That's actually pretty bullish. Did you look at the daily? Well, that's actually pretty bullish too. Did you look at the 100 tick? Well, the 100 tick just switched bearish. It's what's your time frame? Just because VIX is up? What the fuck? No. The VIX is up just because of what's going on in vol of the theoretical 30-day out SPX contract. Yeah, both sides are losing at the moment. Dude, Scuba Steve, I think you're just saying a lot of random fucking things that don't really make sense. Yeah, both sides are losing at the moment. What? How do you know that? How do you know where they got in and got out? And how do you know they're both losing? Yeah, sideways markets are the worst for traders. Only way to make money. Well, iron condors can make money here. Butterflies can make money here. But I mean, linear, like these are serious moves. We went from 100. If you were just short NQ, that was 120 points. That's $2.4 thousand. And then this bounce from 80 up to 80, that's another 2,000. If you took this short and this long, you're up 4.5K. And that's what's happened from 1045 to 1120. So it seems like it's not moving much because we're in a range, but I just want to clarify that this range is huge. Like this range is absolutely massive. But we might be, I don't know, maybe we're double topping here. Like all I can tell you is recently we've been getting higher lows and lower highs, but we have not taken out this last major high. So we're still in this range from 1043 to 1057. So this 15-minute period, we've recovered maybe 2/3 of it, but we haven't reversed it, but we also haven't fallen over. So we're just kind of all awkwardly waiting. And if you ask me, I think it's going to have to relate quite a bit to does SPX hold 65 or not? So basically, are we breaking out of 80 or are we breaking below 65? So I'm just kind of watching that. But even this, SPX puked, 20 points. And this is not a small range type of situation. Like when I look at this, like look at how brutalized the Mag 7 got today. That's insane. S&P 500, it did pop, it did drop, it did pop, it did drop. Recently, it's popping, but in the very short term, it seems to be giving a little bit back right now. But overall, I'm still just watching this consolidation. Granted, the SPY and the Qs are at the top of this consolidation, at least the one that I have drawn. The Russell is showing way more strength than I thought it would. Meta is getting beat the fuck up. Wow, Meta down 11.9% today. That's insane. That has to be one of its biggest dollar value drops. Tesla's down 4%. Avago's down 2.9. AMD's down 2. This isn't because of any bad news. This is just because of people's misunderstanding of the options market. And when everyone's loaded the boat on calls, they get way too rich. And they could keep going if phenomenal news keeps happening. But we got the news that we expected, i.e. not on a relative basis, not phenomenal news. It was the expected news. I'm so very curious of how this is going to play out. Oh. Mag 7. Oh, SPY's tilting a little bit, folks, right here. Remember, you have 1 day left if you want to trade with someone else's money. The Funded Futures Network, their deal ends tomorrow. Code Goonie gets you 50% off. When you buy one, you also get one. So you're getting 2 for 50% off, and there's no activation fee. So code Goonie, 50% off. Buy one, get one. No activation fee. The deal ends tomorrow. Pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. And that's actually what I traded on right here, the Orbo one. Yeah, we're just flagging now. We're just flagging now. I was hoping that this sell right here at 11.16 would give me that exact setup that I wanted. Where's VIX at? Uh-oh. SPY's turning a little bit, folks. This might get a bit saucy. Right here, we might be coming down to 65. Be careful, because it might just be support. Obviously, we could bounce on. It's just a key level. And remember, when you come to key levels, 50-50 shot. You either bounce or you break. It's more of how do you react to it. Have your bull case, have your bear case. I have an alert for a breakdown of 67. It's just this. We might as well just put it right here at 65 and a little bit of change. All right, I'm waiting. If I get my setup, we might play it. I don't know if it will. I'm not in love with the time of the day, 11:30. It's not the worst time. It's just not the best time. It's not the worst. It's not the best. I have to do some quick math, though. If this happens, okay, first of all, am I going to take it? If this happens, well, it didn't create itself yet. That's starting to show a little bit of weakness. That's still weak. The SPY just took a hit. It's getting... Fuck, it's these big bounces. I don't like the size of it just because that increases my risk. But if we start to take this out, 46, 62, fuck, man. We're just slicing through these like 10-point rungs like it's nothing today. Like it's absolutely nothing. We got to watch it. That SPY, the SPY took a bid. Flirted with the 50 EMA breakdown, flirted with it. Before, when we flirted with it, it vomited. Vol, I should say ranges are calming down a little bit. The ATR taking a bit of a hit. $65. The risk would be 65. Oh, look at the SPY bounce right back. Look at that delta puke bounce. Mag 7 still lethargic. Potentially getting rejected right at this trend line. The Qs finding support at their low from yesterday. Okay, if I take this short, 51, 400. So I could size it down again to give it a little bit more leeway for the lunchtime. Well, it's pushing anyway, so I'm not really... For me to be interested, I need to see a little bit more weakness. VIX at 16.5. VIX is picking up a little bit more of like a double bottom situation. I'm seeing some weakness in SPX here, but it could just bounce off of that 65. What you could watch is this downsloping trend line. Oh, how do I want to play this? Okay, it feels like sizing down is once again the right answer today, because when things get moving today, they're like really, really moving. So sizing down, instead of 2 contracts, we're looking at 1. Is this a double bottom and we're bouncing out, or is this just failing? Huh? They're defending it. It's range bound. It's not really being decisive in either direction, honestly. These fucks. Right off of 50. Big buyers at 30. That's a key level to watch. This is the vol still picking up. Mag 7 actually a little bit of an uptick. SPY did bounce, kind of failed there.
Order submitted.
All right, there's the setup. A little bit less than a 1-to-1, as in more risk on the first one. Do I want to use 70? But things are slowing down. We did break that. Or I could go right to 57. Why? Like, I just feel like it's always getting a couple slippage points against me. Like, when I'm looking at this stuff, I'm like, okay, cool, 46, 47. I do the math off of that. And then I look at the fill, and it's 42. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, I'm trying to capture the first one right before the super trend. And then ideally, if that hits, I can move my stop either to break even or to really close. And then I just have either a free runner or whatever. But looking at this switch over from, dude, just dick fills. Well, hopefully this is just my last trade of the day. I myself am getting kind of tired of it. And this is a fine time, 11:30, but we're getting into lunch. I don't really like trading during lunch. I really don't even like trading in the afternoon. So I'm hoping that things work out. In a perfect world, this fills, I move my stop to break even, and it just pukes all day, and I get to come back at 4 p.m. and close it out. That would be like the ideal thing. But I should also note, one of the reasons why I'm so aggressive with this first profit take is because right here, we're just in case it bounces right here. So I'm looking for SPX to test 65. And I'm hoping that, cool, I can lock this. So like at minimum making, I don't know, but knowing my fucking luck, no. Is it going to be one of those bad breaks for me again? Gets as low as 33.5 and I'm in at 32. Like, just give me my fill. Come on, brother. Let's be cool about this. Let's be cool about, just give me my fill.
Order
all right,
fill.
Cool. All right. So pretty much getting myself out of a hole right there. Where do I want to put my risk? If I were smart, if I were acting / cosplaying / be pretending that I was a good trader and knew what I was doing, where would I put my risk? Would I be super conservative and move it right to break even? Keep in mind, well, I should move it down a little bit. Okay. So right now it's 15 points of risk. I locked in 10. What's the low? What is this low? 42. All right. I'm putting my target at the intraday low all the way back here that we saw at 941. That was 42. Mine's at, oh, wait. I'm in at 42. Fuck it. Let's just go for a full 100 points. I don't know if it's going to work. Yeah, I'm short at 42. There. All right. 26,042, 25,942. I don't know. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. It all seems crazy until it doesn't, you know? A nice 100-point target. Honestly, I wouldn't mind taking it off 25 points above that because that would make my gain on the day 1.5K. Well, folks, that's kind of it. Basically, it goes here. If the SPY bounces off of 65, I'm fucked. If it breaks down, well, then I have a real shot of making 2K. Other than that, if we start to push, definitively, if we push 26,000, but honestly, even if we push 26,010, I'll move my stop to break even. I'm trying to give it a little bit of wiggle room to if it wants to reevaluate these EMAs and go from there, but I don't want to give it so much that it drives me further in the red. So this zone right here, roughly, this zone is where I move my stop to break even. Oh, and that's actually perfect because this recent high here is my fill. So that's a nice technical setup as well. That's actually really, actually, if we just take, I might just do this now. Break even on the day, worst case scenario, best case scenario is I make 2K. That's not a bad deal at all, brother. Dude, take it out. Anyway, definitively, if we get to this zone, I move my stop to break even. Worst case scenario, I'm down $50. Best case scenario, I make 2K. Easy peasy lemon squeezies. Easy peasy lemon squeezies. Basic math, folks. All right, it's starting to speed up. Do I do it? I did it for now. I don't know if I'm going to regret it. I kind of still like the 55 just because I feel like a bounce to 50 is so realistic because we haven't really snapped the 60 level yet. I don't know. Did I move it too early? Did I move it too early? Am I the noob? Am I the rube? Am I the noob? Am I the noob? Am I the rube? Did I do it, team? Did I do it right or did I do it wrong? Did I make... We can't define right or wrong as on am I making money? It's did I make the right decision? Did I move my stop too early? Did I move my stop too early? This is the recent low. What was that? 79. 79 is the recent low, and then 42 is the intraday low. Look at that cooking. Look at that. Look, dude, it's how does he do it? Maybe it's Maybelline. Perfect form. Trex almost makes me wish I didn't ban you that one time. That's awfully fucking nice. There's nothing worse than being a dick to a person and then they come back and only hit you with kindness. Jesus, that's a dagger to the heart. I don't do perfect form after I banned you. Coming back with kindness? Dude, dagger to the heart. It almost makes me want to ban you again. Fuck, dude. Thumbs up. It kind of makes me want to ban him again just because I'm so embarrassed now. You know? He comes back with fucking kindness. I feel like I should ban him. Just I don't want to have to deal with this right now. Camille, that's so fucking true. I think we should ban him out of precaution, you know? Just to be safe. Fucking teach all of you to treat me well after I'm mean to you. Nah, I wouldn't be in permaban. Fucking set the goddamn record straight in here. Where's my buddy Cecilia, the shit talker? Where's Cecilia? Still in here. You okay? Can you guys in chat help me track down Cecilia? Cecilia was talking a lot of shit. It's kind of awkward by the time we're looking at the scoreboard here. Freedom options. Here comes the puke you were looking for. You should have heard what imprisoned options was saying earlier today. I replied, but you ignored it. Oh, I didn't read it. Sorry. Hang on. Wasn't a lot, just 2 comments. Well, give me the TLDR. Did it have anything to do with the $25,000 I'm up? Did it have anything to do with this fucking sniper-esque entry? Should I move my stop down? I probably should. Oh, well, actually, that would at least put me green on the day. Fuck, is it going to bounce, though, and do this to me? Okay, I have 2 options. I could guarantee myself 38 points. I don't know, about... I could guarantee myself going green 600, or I could say, hey, I'm happy being break even. Like, theoretically, I could move it all the way up here and then just leave this profit target all the way down here. How would you guys do that? Would you take the guaranteed plus 600, or would you swing for the 2K? What would you guys do? 2K or 600? The 600's guaranteed. The 2K is probably 50-50. Well, actually, hang on. If we think it's 50-50, the expected value, that's a return of 1,000. So technically, 50% times 2K is 1,000. So mathematically, that's the smarter option. I might have answered my own question, folks. I might have answered my own question, because the expected value is $1,000. 50% times 2,000. Expected value is 1K. So 1K, if you have 100% times $600, that's 1 times 600, 600. Your other option is 50% of 2,000, 0.5 times 2,000. Your expected value is 1K. I'm taking the 1K. No. You're either taking 600 or the other one is 0 or 2,000. This is where Martingale? No. Martingale's, if you're wrong, you double down on the next bet. And Martingale only kind of works if you have a shitload of money relative to the bet size. Split the difference and take the 1K. No, that's not the math equation we're talking about right now. You're talking about expected value, and then you do the action that has the higher expected value. Cold fusion. I'm saying I'm exiting now. Why? You have a shot of it completely vomiting. If you're going to even exit now, why not even give yourself a shot and maybe put your stop really close at 26,000. And yeah, there's a good chance it knocks you out. But what if it doesn't? Like, in the event it does, okay, you're giving up 10 points. But what if it never touches it and it just absolutely vomits? Something to consider. I should also point out that SPX did crack the support, and now it's more of, is it going to touch 850 again? We got as low as 53, but we didn't really touch 52 or 50. So from an S&P 500 perspective, this is maybe something to consider. And then vol is also picking up. So potentially a double bottom here on the SPY. I don't know. I like it. The fact that I dug out of the hole a little bit, I could leave my stop at break even. If it comes all the way up, yeah, that's a fucking bummer. But if we snap through 850, I'm going to be making 2K. And from a math perspective, it is the right decision. On this individual trade, will it work? Will it not work? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Is Martingale related to Martin Sheen? I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah. Can someone fact check that? But was this not the exact setup I was telling you about? Vol picking up, SPX breaking 65, and then we kind of didn't get the perfect setup I wanted, but hey, whatever. Beggars can't be choosers. Maybe it existed on a different tick chart. Matt on extra late today. Yeah, I am. And actually on that note, I should probably dip. I just want you guys to know I'm either going to be here. I'll make it so I don't lose money. I'm down $100. What's my 42? Okay, 37, $100. Okay, so I'm either going to be break even on the day or I'm making 2K. Those are the... I kind of like it just staying at 42 because that high. Whatever. Okay. I'm either going to be losing $50 per account today or I'm making $2,000 per account. That's how today's going to play out for me. This is my final trade of the day. It's going to... One of them's going to hit and we're going to fucking find out which one. So I'll let you guys know, but also you could just check the chart yourself. You could ask yourself from this moment at 11:47, which one do we hit first? Did we hit 42 first or did we hit 42 first? Yeah, I'm going for 100 points. My stop is at break even. I have no downside risk, but my accounts are down $50 on the day. And then my potential profit target is the intraday low, which actually technically it's a tick beyond the intraday low, which is, oh, is it going to happen? Hang on. I'll hang out with this second. I could hang out for a second here to see if this hits. I probably should move my risk to 11. Careful trailing drawdown. Yeah, but I'm beyond it. My accounts are way above the buffer. No, you're right. Actually, my new 5 accounts aren't. Well, they are now. I should be on 15 of my accounts. I'm doing some math over here. On these accounts right here, these bottom 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're just over the buffer now, which probably means on those accounts, I should move it to here. Just because that's not the most difference and I can manage whatever the hit to the buffer is. But on the other 15 accounts, I'm already way beyond the buffer, 61, 60. Like I don't have to worry about that there. But you're right to say it on these new 5 ones. I kind of do. Kind of. So that's actually probably the smartest move is on the 5 new accounts, moving it to this recent high. Probably should have done something like that. So, but maybe should I manage them all that way? We just made a fresh low. I would love to not make a fresh high. We just made a fresh low of 65. I would love for us to not exceed 11. And we're hanging out right below. Like, my life would be far, far easier today if we just crack 65 and go right to 42. I would have closed the position by now. And that's why no one will ever remember your name. Yeah. Oh, this can actually get crazy. Yeah, we're tilting into negative gamma below 50, folks. Your last stop is 6,800. If this snaps, I would say honestly, I might even move this down to 7 because this is the downside gap fill. Whatever the fuck that value is at. 807.11. So let me update this. 807. So once again, this is a giant if-then statement. If we do not hold 50, I'm looking for a push to this 7-point region. That is the last stand. This is the Alamo, brother. And if that breaks, there's not much for another 125 points. It is very important for the bulls that 6,800 holds today. And there appears to be a giant spread right there. 23,000. Jesus Christ. That's large. That is large. All right. Well, we puked. We popped. We dropped. Now we're consolidating. Fortunately, even if we break the consolidation against me, I'm 30 points. So that's $600. So I'm back to the 500 I was at before. So before, when you guys said I was over trading, in a weird sense, you're kind of right, because my bad case scenario right now leads me back to where I was. But the good case scenario gives me an extra $1,500. Oh, whoever called that out, you're so right. My new 5 accounts, I probably should manage those a bit better. Or I could just rip it and pray that we hit 42 down here. We are Team Mexico today. Liam, that's savage. Vol's picking up. What's the low? Here's the low. The SPY has a lot more to go here, like $2, while the Qs only have $1. And the Russell has $3. No, $2. SPY and Russell can drop 2 to hit the intraday low. The Qs only have $1 to go. Is it a double bottom here? I mean, we're just kind of at this recent bottom. The market's trying to decide, does it want to be a little sweep and then we pop, or are we just puking to the intraday low? Vol is picking up, though. Mag 7 is looking bad. SPY was looking bad, and then in the past couple minutes getting a little bit of a pop, which is why we stopped this vomit. Shit. Oh, what do I want to do? I could just take the 1,000 per account today. That sounds pretty nice after this fucking battle we've been in. Do I take the 1,000 now? Do I risk 2,000, but if I'm wrong, only get 600? If I risk it for the 2K and I'm wrong, I get 600, or I could just get out now for the 1,000. Decisions, folks. Decisions. Who knows which way is going to break? 50-50. 50-50. What happened to the math? Well, the math is the math. Well, no, the math has actually changed a little bit. For 15 of the accounts, the smart thing is to wait. For 5 of the accounts, it's changed because of the unrealized drawdown. Once again, I have 5 newer accounts that are just at the buffer right now. So the math is slightly different for these 5. For the first 15, for the larger 15 from here upward, the mathematical right thing to do is to wait. That doesn't necessarily make it the emotionally easy thing to do. Sometimes your emotions and the math differ from each other. They're not necessarily always going to be the same there, Tonto. Whoa. Fuck. And it looks like we're being presented with that question pretty soon. Little trend line breakout there. Is it just the retest of 26,000? A lot of people trying to sell at 26, not a lot, but there's a chunk of people trying to sell at 26,008. Fuck me, dude. This is one of those things that this is one of the brutal things about trading is if this works out and we pop and we drop and I make all this money, everyone's like, that was so patient. That was so disciplined. You stick to your trading plan. Congratulations. You deserve that money. That's event potential outcome A. Outcome B is it bounces off of this after we made basically fresh lows. It rips all the way up, knocks me out, and everyone's like, that's greedy. So basically, the difference between being patient and being greedy is exclusively the outcome, even though you as the trader did the exact same thing. Isn't that kind of interesting? I hate how, and I'm pointing that out because a lot of people, when they're quote unquote teaching your favorite gurus and gurus, they dive into it like that. And no matter what you do, the way that if you played it wrong, they use the opposite as a way to, like, whatever, teach you, chastise you, inform you how you were wrong, even though you did the same thing. Potential event 1 is I was patient and I got all this money. Potential event 2 is it bounces all the way up, break even, and I look greedy, even though I did the same thing. It just played out differently. And that's one of the things that I think is like really, really devious about the like education industry in this is they can always pick on the opposite one to point out how you were wrong, even though you did the same thing. Isn't that weird? Well, now I'm at the point of fucking praying because we do have this succession of higher highs and higher lows. Don't worry about us. We're not paying your bills. Well, I'm just kind of like, I'm not in control of what people are about to do. If they keep it above 26,000, I'm probably fucked. If they reject it here, I'm probably looking pretty solid. So just state it out loud, your reasons. It's not guaranteed greed, but you're just following. Well, I'm just saying, I'm not risking any money. My stop's at break even. So it's just, the question is, would you take a freebie trade with no risk where you can make 2K, or would you just take the guaranteed $700? Like at a certain point, it's luck. And right here, the odds of it are 50-50. We're at a key level. We're either bouncing and popping up or we're breaking down. So you have a 50-50 shot of either 0 or 2K, or you could just cut it in the middle and be like, nope, I take my 950 right now. What do? This is actually mathematically the most interesting because the expected value is 1,000. 50-50 shot of either 0 or 2K is $1,000. That's your expected value. And right now, I could lock in $1,000. So that's kind of, I'm right at the expected value. So we're getting a little bit far away from the math, but it's interesting. This is where the psychology comes in. And if you're doing purely robotic trading, you don't have to question this stuff whatsoever. Lock it in, Matthew. Was that my mother? My mother? What is today, the 30th? Yes. My mom's in chat, apparently. Can you believe that? Lock it in, Matthew. All right. If you're in the Discord, Piper's firing here at noon. Take the 1K and be done. Dude, I'm kind of at that point. But what's keeping me in this is percentage-wise, another $1,000 here, another 50-point gain, which is $1,000 on NQ. Percentage-wise, the increase to my buffer right now is so extraordinarily helpful. So extraordinarily helpful. I'm increasing my buffer by over 33% on my small accounts. So in terms of wiggle room, like that's really what I'm thinking of like if I can hit it. Because like not every trading day is built the same. And certain trading days you're afforded better opportunity. And right now, vol seems pretty crazy and it seems like we're moving quite a bit. So maybe this is the day where you have larger targets. So remember, not all days are built the same. And I keep coming back to these 5 new accounts, 2.6, 2.6, 2.6, 2.6, 2.6. If I make another $1,000, 3.6, 3.6, 3.6, 3.6, that's almost a 40% increase in buffer. As in, when I start trading, if it hits, if I start trading tomorrow, things are 40% easier because I have that much more wiggle room. So it's just more of like, do you take the swing when the pitch is there? That's kind of the only reason I haven't closed it out. These ones, it's not going to matter, like really matter that much. Of course, an extra $1,000 is nice, but it's not like I'm above or below the break line. Like I'm already above what I need. I'm going to request today after the market closes. They're going to deny it because I broke one of the rules, the unrealized, not the unrealized. Is it the unrealized? The not the 30% consistency, the 30% risk rule. I broke one of the 30% rules, not 30% consistency. I'm good on the consistency side. It's the 30% risk rule. Before your account is at 5K, your largest unrealized can't be more like than 30% or some shit. So I keep thinking about that. So I'll request, they're going to deny, and then I have to trade another 8 days. Can you close the trades on just those 5? I could. But once again, if it hits, it's how much easier my life becomes if these hit on this one trade. It's rare that I'm up 50 points and like I'm not freaking out of like, am I green? Am I red? It sucks if it bounces out of this. We're kind of getting a trend line breakdown, but it's seemingly holding itself. The EMA is staying red, but like even on this, it hit the line, it's bouncing. It keeps trying to push 26,000. VIX is holding. We're not still going up, but it's holding. Russell's looking a bit weak. SPY is now flat. Qs are now flat. Bearish, 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 bearish. We broke 65, but we did not break 50. We got very close, though. 52. Fuck. It's just like, why couldn't this little drop here just lead to the intraday low test? That's all I'm going for. I'm not going for some big fucking vomit right now. And what's crazy is it could bounce up to 40, my entry, and still be weak and fall from there. That's the thing, is we've been moving so much size that easily a push up to 40 right now, and y'all be like, yeah, that's still kind of like trending down. Fuck. That's the painful thing on this, Jesus. Is it could easily knock me out, and then if I showed you the 5-minute chart right here, this would be the pump to 40. You'd be like, yeah, dude, look at lower. Like it wouldn't even have broken that trend if it knocks me out at break even. That's how much range we've been moving today. fuck, dude. Even look, that's crazy. So, like, look how quickly this is just, it's ripping like no other. Ah, fuck, this is frustrating. And now, too, whoever in chat pointed it out, the unrealized drawdown on those other 5, I probably should have set it right here at 14. It just moved so quick, like right there. Boom, boom, boom. Like it just, that happened in sub 1 minute. Damn, that happened real quick. We are just moving today. We just went from 65 all the way up to 35. That went 70 points in 15 minutes. Nuts. You followed your plan. That was the right call. Yeah, I'm attempting to follow the plan, but it seems like my 2 options, the options going against me because we didn't get this follow through to the intraday low. And my level is a little bit arbitrary. Granted, I have this little technical high here, but I'm going to need a bit of luck is not going to be happening. Fuck, dude. Just an unfortunate break, man. I feel like I've lost all my 50-50 coin flips today. That's such a fucking bummer. I've lost all. It's coming for me. Yeah. People are going to be targeting that high right there. Honestly, I could probably just close this out. I don't even know why I'm watching it.
Order filled.
Yeah, they were clearly targeting that high. Yeah, you flip the quarter, and sometimes it just doesn't fucking work. And it feels like today, I'm down, whatever, 10 points. I flipped the quarter a lot, and it just did not come up in my favor. It is what it is. And the fucking bummer here is this could easily just get fucking smashed. And still, like, this is still bearish. It just happened to be like, I didn't want to risk actual money. Like, I wanted to go only to break even. And right here, like, this could easily turn over. It's already turning over. Fuck me. If I just had a little bit more leeway, if I had like a slightly better entry, like even if my risk was at 52, let's say I got in above 50, maybe it just gets rejected right here. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. Well, I think that's it for me. Now that we're getting into lunch, it almost seems like dangerous to trade at this time period anyway. So it's probably better to end this because this is a very, very weak period to trade. So I don't need to be overstaying my welcome whatsoever. Hey, it's a scratch day. It's a bummer. On 5 of the accounts, it did kind of actually legitimately hurt the unrealized drawdown. So I'm a bit concerned about that. And by a bit concerned, I mean I'm a lot a bit concerned about the 5 accounts with minimal buffer. Part of this game in Sim to Fund It is just like quickly getting a buffer just because the buffer they initially give you is so crappy that you kind of need a little bit of luck at first just to build out that buffer, at least in my opinion. And we just, as of right now, it's in that struggle bus. Life becomes easier when you get what's the buffer on the 50K accounts? 2.5K. Yeah, once you get above that and you don't have to worry about the unrealized drawdown, life becomes easier. And then of course, as you grow the buffer on top of that, it just every single dollar above it, your life is just measurably that much easier. But so the other 15 accounts are fine. Like they're good. It's just more of, I guess at this point I have to wait and see how this other shit plays out. So c'est la vie, I suppose. C'est la vie. That's what I have for you guys. Be careful in the lunch section. Hopefully session, maybe the afternoon has a little bit more excitement, a little bit more craziness going on. And other than that, I'm seeing a lot of range bound. In fact, ever since the first 10 minutes, the SPY's been range bound. And the Qs have been range bound since market open. Granted, it's a very large range, but we're not trending at all. So just, I guess, be careful. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Folks, that's what I have for you. We'll be posting an update video later on today and then streaming once again tomorrow for Payday Friday. I appreciate all the good vibes. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.